My name's Ron Harper, and I am the proud franchise owner of the number 14 most popular place to get pizza in America, the Pizza Pad. So I've been a franchise owner for about 6 years. How it happened is we looked at the FDD, franchise disclosure something, and I said, cha-ching, yes please. So we took out an SBA loan, got this turnkey system. It's like an ATM machine, 20s rolling at me all day, sometimes 5s, sometimes 10s. It's awesome. Here's the thing about being a franchise owner. What I know is that corporate don't get it. I like to think outside of the pizza box. I open that baby up, boom, theme night. Like for instance, I have a camping night. I send my cooks home and we just give the customers raw pizzas, and we got a fire pit out here in the middle of the dining room, and they cook their pizzas. Does corporate know about these ideas? So, my job as a franchisee is, to really help make the brand better. What I did is I took a look at our logo here, Pizza Pad, boring, I know. And I thought, how can I help this? How can I make this better? And I thought, what's hot right now? Apple's hot right now, okay? So what did I do with our logo? So I took my Sharpie, just like this, and Pizza iPad, revolutionary. The thing about this rebranding is it has just absolutely changed our whole restaurant. It's changed our menu completely from top to bottom. Now you can order an iMac and cheese, which is just absolutely delicious. You can order the Apple TV, which is actually just a basket full of apples. But our coup de grace of our new menu is the Pizza iPad. Oh yeah, check this thing out. Comes complete with apps right here. You got your pepperoni app, your sausage app, your green pepper app, your mushroom app. People can load this iPad pizza with whatever app they want. The one thing you can't do is you can't swipe it, of course. You can't click on an app and more pepperonis are gonna come out, but people love it. So you can also get this in an iPad mini. So 1, 2, 3. Pizza iPad's number one.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
Started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
Okay, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we're talking about following the proven path, staying on the proven path. If you're tired of throwing gutter balls in the world of business, you might buy a franchise. You might say, well, why would I want to buy a franchise? Well, you see, when you buy an oxyfresh.com franchise or you buy a McDonald's franchise, you're less likely to fail because you're following a proven system. What? Let me try that again. If you buy an oxyfresh.com franchise or a McDonald's franchise or maybe a Sports Clips franchise, you're less likely to fail because you're following a proven path. And here to talk about it is Matt Klein with OxyFresh. Matt, welcome onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
I am doing wonderful. How are you?
Matt, I'm excited to talk to you about this subject here because you're probably inundated with statistics and information. I'm not trying to paint you into a corner, but is it true that people are much less likely to fail if they buy a franchise versus starting a business from scratch?
Certainly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. I can go into that, or if you just want the answer, it's yes.
Well, I'd like you to get into that because I think somebody out there is watching the show going, well, what's the value of even buying an OxyFresh? Why don't I just start my own carpet business? What's the value if someone says, why don't I just start my own McDonald's? I mean, why do I need to buy McDonald's? I can just start my own. How hard is it? I just got to get a couple arches going, get this Ronald clown looking guy. I could probably, why do I need to start my own sports clips? I mean, why can't I just start my own, my own sport theme hair thing? Why do I need sports clips? I don't mean McDonald's. I mean, it's just a couple arches, a couple guys flipping burgers, OxyFresh. I mean, come on, anybody, I can just start my own. Just Matt, somebody's having that thought right now.
I get the question all the time. It's like, why wouldn't I do this on my own? I go, if you have the confidence and you think you have the skills to do it, you should do it on your own because you do pay for all the things that you get with the company. But the difference is you're paying for already established infrastructure that's worked for, in our case, 2 decades, right? Like if you start a company today, I tell this is a simple, just kind of work through. If you start a company today and you think you're going to be good at carpet cleaning, I would urge whoever's saying that to go do some R&D on equipment and figure out which one you're going to use. Try to build a website and try to figure out what the company's name is. Try to figure out what the color scheme is, right? Get back to me in like 3 months because that's how long it's going to take you. By that time with the franchise, you'd already be doing jobs. Right? Let alone all the other things like marketing, who's going to handle the phone calls, what happens when that person calls out sick, what happens if, you don't understand how to do pay-per-click ads or who it's like, it's a whole environment, it's like, I give this example. I own 8 Google pages. I don't know how to build one. Right? Because OxyFresh built my entire infrastructure for me. So there's just a lot to business. Business, by the way, is not what it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. When you can go into a Yellow Pages or a coupon book, and if you had enough money, you can compete. Like there are really specific things that need to be done, like speed of website, strength of website stuff that the average person, even though they're a good person, they know how to do sales, they might be a good manager of people, right? Running a small business is a lot more detailed now and more tech driven than it ever has been.
Now, there's somebody out there, Matt, that's watching this right now, and they're going, come on, man. Listen, okay? Yeah. I could easily get my cousin to go ahead and make an auto wrap, padow, get my mom up in there, she's making that call center. I mean, I got a phone. I got a computer. I'll just get the wrap going, why do I need a graphic designer to make my brand? I got my cousin, my sister, my mom was bam, and what I find is, according to Inc. magazine, 96% of business owners fail. Let me pull this up real quick. 96% of businesses fail, according to Inc. magazine. What am I saying? Matt, let me just show this little fascinating example for everybody out there. It's usdebtclock.org. If you want to go there, if you want to make this Thanksgiving awkward, pull up usdebtclock.org on the family big screen TV and make the family look at this during the meal. If you want to make your Christmas meal awkward, pull this up. But if you go to usdebtclock.org, Matt, we have 342 million Americans here that we know about, and there's just now we're now down to 9 million self-employed people. Matt, we are down to 9 million self-employed people. I'm talking about less than 2.5% of our population is self-employed, and 96% of those fail. So let me do the math for you. You got a 1 out of 1,000 shot to make it as a small business owner unless you're following a proven path. 96% of people fail. Matt, how many times do you talk to somebody who wants to buy an OxyFresh and they say, hey, I got to be real. I started business 1, it failed. You know why? Because the economy. 2, my business failed. You know why? Because my sister, the weather, something going on with my life. But business 3, I think I'm not going to buy an OxyFresh. I'm going to do my own thing because I feel like this 3rd time I got it figured out. How often, Matt, do you talk to people that despite having failure 1, failure 2, failure 3, they believe that they could still do it on their own, thus they don't need to buy a franchise?
Yeah, I mean, I run across it on a daily basis. I think when people think of business, they have an old way of thinking about it where they're not actually thinking about what's happening today, right? They think that yes, they can provide great customer service, and yes, they might be able to hire great people, and yes, they can maybe do some outside sales, but it's just so much more than that. The numbers are screaming here, telling you not to. I mean, by the way, if you think you can, you should go for it. Like if you think just be prepared. It's going to be a lot of moving pieces and a lot of trial by fire and a lot of expensive things that you're going to have to go through. The numbers are pretty terrifying, right? Like it's shocking to me that many people go into small business on their own anyways, right?
How often do you talk to somebody who's right at the edge? They're right there. They're ready to buy an OxyFresh. They've done the research. They've called your references. They've come to Shadow in Denver. They've been to a trade show. They've even used the service to clean their own home. And they go, oof. Well, we've decided just to open up our own little, coffee business, our own carpet brand. We've decided not to team up because we think we can do it on our own. How often do you hear that?
Not very. If anyone gets to the point where they're coming to Colorado, I almost hear it never that they're going to do their own, because they've already kind of gone through the entire evaluation. They understand the value to that, and they've taken commitment to come out. Almost everyone goes through if they come out, but in the middle of the process where, maybe the investment seems high, or maybe they've got some friends that are in their ear or their family in their ear, like, why would you do this? I mean, that happens. I don't know a number, but it does happen. More people, though, by the way, Clay, decide not to run a business at all than to go do their own business.
So, okay, so let's talk about this for a second.
That's too scary. That part's too scary, right? Like, after we get done going through the whole thing and explaining all the ins and outs of the business and how important marketing is and who's going to answer the phones for us, and how you're actually going to collect the calls and where you're going to put them on the software and how do you actually hire. So like when we explain all these things through our software and through our system, then they figure out, like, they're either going to go with us usually or not do it at all. I find very rarely, if they get through the entire process with us, they decide to do their own, because it is a little too overwhelming after everything that I've said to then just go do it on your own.
How often, Matt, do you talk to somebody who says, man, I don't understand why I need to pay an ongoing franchise fee? I mean, why can't I just pay a one-time cost to you guys for the franchise? Why do I have to pay an ongoing fee? How often do you hear that kind of thing, where somebody is upset that they're going to be beholden to following the program and paying you commissions at OxyFresh for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, that'll come up on the very first call. And if they can't understand the value there, it could be like just we're done, right? If they can't understand that. But most people, honestly, that I talk to, they're pretty open-minded, right? Especially after they say, what does the scheduling center cost do for me, right? Or what does the royalty fee do for me? And if I explain that thoroughly, it's like, these are not some costs. These are costs that you're going to have as a business owner. We're just doing at a lower cost more efficiently than if you try to do it on your own, right? Like, what do you think R&D would be if somebody had no experience in carpet cleaning and they wanted to just go figure out what cleaning system to use? How long do you think that would take them? Just that a guess.
I mean, I think it would take somebody, if they ever figured it out, maybe half a decade.
Yeah, I mean, but you'd go through very expensive equipment that didn't work as good. You try to, you go through a product that goes good. You'd switch it up, and all that sunk cost, right? So it's not that you're saving money in any scenario. It's that you're just foregoing wanting to pay some. So like, I honestly don't find a lot of people that are, if they've gotten to me and we've gone through that process, not like, no, because I feel like with all the stuff online about our company and all that, they're kind of doing some of those research. They won't get past the first call if they can't see like just that very easy, what's going to be helping you as a franchise. I don't see a lot of that happening, at least in my discussion. Now, they might not tell me about it and go do their own thing, but I'm not hearing a lot of it.
Okay, so I got to ask you this again. I'm just going to hone in on this. Somebody says, well, OxyFresh, why would I want to pay OxyFresh X% of my revenue to run my call center for me? I mean, to run my scheduling center for you. Well, I'm going to tell you a fantastic story. This morning, it's a Monday. We have 100 employees that work here-ish between all the things I'm involved in. And this morning, we had 4 people who decided to have personal problems. 4. The sound I make for personal problems is this. That's the sound. 4 out of 100. It's pretty good. 4 out of 100.
Yeah.
That's the sound. That's the sound I make. It's like explosive. Now I'm waking up. I wake up myself. I'm up. I'm at the office at 3. No personal problems. I'm here at 3 in the morning. Why? Because it's a Monday. I'm getting my thing organized. I'm here. Dude, I'm listening to a podcast I enjoy called And the Writer Is about songwriting. I'm organizing my day. I got my to-do list high and tight. And then Matt, first call comes in here. Second, 3, 4. 4 people can't make it to work. Personal problem. Out of 100, that's a pretty good number though. 4%. And I manage those people. I've plugged the gaps, solved the problems. No big deal. That's my Monday. Folks, if you have your own scheduling center, you got to staff them. You got to staff that call center, train that call center, recruit that call center, hire, inspire, train, retain, sick days, insurance, everything, computer system. Matt, how often do potential franchisees see the value in having a scheduler center, and how often a scheduling center? How often do people say, I could do it on my own, no problem?
There's like 99% of people that talk to say that's amazing, right? Because it is. I mean, the other thing too is I only pay OxyFresh when the job is done, not for the call that's taken, not for someone to call back in and reschedule, not for someone to call in and change the contact information of their husband from them, right? For every like 5 jobs I book, there's like 20 interactions. So if I didn't have that, I would have to hire at least 2, maybe 3 people because I need to be there at, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning because people book jobs early. I need to be there like late at night, right? You can't have someone working 10, 12, 14 hours a day. So I got to have at least 2, maybe 3 shifts, right? And then I got to do it all week through the weekend. So yeah, I mean, that's a cost. And by the way, I don't pay, if I have my own employees, I pay them for the hours they're working, not for the jobs that are booked. For me, I don't even do the jobs booked. I pay for the jobs that are completed as a franchise owner. So the interactions I'm not actually doing, and I'm not paying for them to sit there. Because we have a large franchise, we can hire enough people to just answer the phones all day long, right? We got call queues, and we know when the up and down seasons are. So it's vitally important. I mean, that one is, I've had maybe a couple people since I've been doing this 10 years say, I want to take my own calls. I'm like, then you should go work for a scheduling center. Right.
So what is the biggest hang up? What's the biggest, when you talk to great people, what's the biggest hang up you're hearing right now? I mean, we're here, it's 2025. Whenever someone's hearing this show, OxyFresh has got 500 plus locations. You've been doing the thing for 20 years. The brand's been around for 20 years. What is the biggest hiccup? What's the biggest question people have?
I think the biggest hiccup for us usually is like people that just need confidence in themselves to be able to do this, right? I think the mirror test is a pretty important one. It's like the business is going to be here with them or not. It just depends on if they have the confidence to step outside their comfort zone and do something like this. Like most people don't choose to run a company. It's not because the company or the franchising or non-franchise, it's that they don't have confidence in themselves, right? It's like, it's a bit different. A lot of people are used to being told when to get up, when to go to work, what tasks to complete while at work, when to go home, right? They do it every single day and they get paid for that amount, right? I'm seeing a lot of people that are getting really fed up with that. They don't like it anymore. They're coming over to us and saying, I need options. I need more income. I need flexibility. I need like all these things. So the biggest hiccup is like self-confidence, funding, right? Historically, funding's been pretty easy. Of late, funding can be a little bit more difficult, but if you can't buy our franchise, I truly believe that there's a little bit deeper, probably financial stuff going on there. And then to be honest, probably one of the biggest thing is the dreaded spouse, right? One person wants to do it. The other person's very risk averse and doesn't want to do it, right? And so that happens too. But to a business ourselves, I feel like, we gain a lot of interest. We gain a lot of great franchisees just by being the company that we are. But we still, Clay, I only probably award 2-3% of the people I talk to of the franchise. Because it's a two-way street too. I get plenty of people that we don't want them to be a franchise for us.
How often do you get somebody who says, okay, I want to buy a franchise and here's why? I mean, I guess what's the most common reason someone says, all right, I'm in, I'm doing it. Like, what's that aha moment for somebody? What's that moment of, where they go, all right, I've done my research, I'm all in. Where is that moment?
Yeah, it's usually 2 or it's 3 of them. Usually it's one of them is like, I lost my job. I never want to feel that again. I've built all of my my skill sets. I've run, I've managed 50 people at my company. Why can't I do it myself? That's a big one, right? People lose it. This happened during COVID. It was one of the biggest spikes of C-level franchisees that came into our franchise brand. That was a huge uptick for us. I also see where people are just stuck in their life, right? They have a job. They've been doing that job for a decade. The job itself, they like it. It does something, but it's never going to financially fill their appetite. So they want to add something else to their portfolio, which we're a good business for that because you can start this company either full-time or semi-absentee. We get a lot of those people say, I got 4 or 5 hours a day, or I have plenty of time to work on my company and be a support system for my employees. That's a great one. And then the other one after that is we have people that just want a portfolio of businesses that they can run. as a large corporation, but they can't really add things that are going to take a lot of time from them. That's why Oxford is such a good add-on for them, is because we've automated so much of the day-to-day that they can add 4, 5, 6 territories to their already existing portfolio and kind of fill that in, and their entire team will kind of just run that for them, right? So there's a lot of different options for us.
Final question I have for you, Matt. You're in front of an audience of, let's say, 2,000 people right now, or whatever the number is. And typically what happens is I put out the show, get about 2,000 to 3,000 people that download the show right away. And then throughout the year, you get about 10,000 to 15,000 people. So you're on a mic now in front of 10,000 people. Not to freak you out, but I mean, you're in front of a mic right now, in front of 10,000 people, right there in that Nuggets arena. What's the name of the arena? Is it Ball Arena where the Nuggets play?
Ball Arena. Yeah, it used to be Pepsi Center.
You're there. Seating capacity of I don't even know how much. Let's look it up here.
20,000, probably 25,000.
25,000. Let me pull this up real quick here. I'm gonna look this up.
Basketball arenas aren't that big.
I'm gonna pull it up real quick. So Ball Arena, I'm pulling it up on my screen so we can see it. Give a little context.
18.
Yep. Ball Arena. Let me see here. Ball Arena. Okay, and this is seating capacity. I'm pulling it up. Okay, so 25,000. Wow. Okay, you're in Denver. I mean, this place is packed. You got the mic. There's people all over the country there that are there to watch the game. In this case, they're there to hear you. This is your opportunity. Get on the mic. People there, they came because they said, I've heard that there's going to be a guy getting on the mic in a minute with a beard. He's a beautiful man. He could be a male model, but he's here to teach us how we can go from having a job we hate to owning a career that we love. And you got that mic, and you don't have a lot of time because the guy introducing you has taken several minutes to get to the point. And people are saying, just get to the point. No. That's not what happens in these situations, okay? Shot clock's running down. So, Matt, you got 60 seconds on the clock. I pass you the mic. Tell everybody out there why everybody out there, again, I'll pull up the website so people can see it, thrivetimeshow.com/oxyfresh. That's the website they can go to learn more about buying a franchise. 60 seconds on the clock, Matt. Why should everybody out there who doesn't know what they want to do, but they know they want to become self-employed, why should everybody out there check out OxyFresh?
Yeah, I think we can fit we check all the boxes. As a business, you can run this full-time, semi-absentee, give your family flexibility. You can also lean on our automation to allow you to run a company while you can also spend time with your family, right? It's not going to run itself, but we have created all of the things inside of our business. Like I'm talking to you right now, and I know that I booked 2 jobs since we've been on this podcast, right? I know that my employees, if they need me, they can call me, but they don't need me pulling all the strings all day long, right? Who doesn't want an extra source of income? It doesn't take 30, 40 hours a week from you. Most people just don't realize that franchising exists, one, and they don't realize that there's a bunch of options outside of McDonald's that aren't $1.5 million that you can get under 150 grand. Then a couple of years are going to make a great new income for your business, for your family. And this might get you completely out of corporate America, or it might just have a portfolio of incomes that now your family is more financially stable. There's plenty of room for this company in most people's lives. And you just have to take a little look at it and talk to me because it's free. It costs you zero money. Costs you about 5-6 hours throughout a month to talk to me about this business. And you might just find that this could be a really good add-on or new life that you could have with a small business.
I feel like I just saw John Barnett walk by, the founder of OxyFresh. I feel like that just happened in the window. Maybe I made that up. Perhaps that didn't happen. Maybe it did happen. Did that feel like to you like that happened?
I just saw him. Yeah.
Okay. It must be a sign.
Surprised he didn't come in and try to do that.
Yeah, well, it could be a sign, folks. I encourage everyone to go to thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. I'll put a link on the show notes there. Matt Klein, thank you so much again, folks. I'll put a link on the show notes, thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. Matt Klein, you're a beautiful man. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Gentlemen, let me introduce you to the grill gun.
Oh! I would have greened that anyway. I need that!
One of the gentlemen, his name is Bob Healy, came to our conference with a quasi-functional prototype. He had terminal cancer, and Bob came to me and said, help me.
Entrepreneur Clay Clark has built several multi-million-dollar businesses. Now, he helps budding entrepreneurs like Bob turbocharge their ideas with a 14-step plan.
And grillblazer.com is now a massively successful company that's becoming a household name in many American homes.
In this episode, we dive into how to rebuild American small businesses and industrial capacity.
you never want to outsource your core competency. We have to import certain technology from countries that hate us to make military weapons to defend us. That doesn't even make sense.
This is American Thought Leaders, and I'm Yanya Kellick. Clay Clark, such a pleasure to have you on American Thought Leaders.
Hey, thank you for being here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
So, this current administration is looking to revitalize the economy, to push it to a next level. And for me, always small business has been a centerpiece of this. It's kind of, some people describe it as the engine of American innovation and growth and so forth. But during the COVID years, just we're emerging out of them as we speak, a lot of small business was frankly wiped out. And you're the guy who's actually helping people kind of build those small businesses. So tell me about what you do.
Well, in America today, we have about approximately 330 million Americans that live here, and we have 9.2 million Americans that identify as being self-employed. And so what happens is somebody out there, a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, a plumber, somebody says, I want to start my own business. And when they do, they don't really know the proven processes to start and grow a company. And that's what I do. So I basically take somebody with a dream and I align them with my team and we help them scale something. If you sell something to humans on the planet Earth in exchange for a profit, that's what we help people to scale.
You've structured your business in such a way that it's actually, unless your client does well, it's impossible for you to do well. And I thought to myself, what a brilliant way, what an ethical way to set up a business, because you kind of have no choice.
Well, you know, the word shalom, which Pastor Jackson, I go to Sheridan Church, and Pastor Jackson talks about that word from time to time, shalom. But the shalom is like a win-win. It's a win-win relationship, a mutually beneficial relationship. Napoleon Hill, the best-selling author of Think and Grow Rich, calls it the mutually beneficial relationship. And so what I do is when I coach a client or work with a client, I tell the client, hey, look, I'm going to help you grow your business for the smallest monthly fee possible. And I just want to get a small percentage of the growth. Because if I'm getting 1 percentage point of the growth, theoretically, you're making 100 times more than I am. But if I can scale multiple companies, it turns out to be a great thing for me. So I've been doing the same thing for 20 years. And so what I'll do is I'll sit down with an electrician, and the electrician will have a business that's stuck. It's not thriving. It's barely surviving. And they go, I don't know how to grow. I don't know if it's marketing. I don't know if it's human resources. I don't know if it's accounting. I don't know if it's pricing. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's the economy. How do I grow my company? And I sit down with them and I say, look, we're going to go through a 14-step plan to rejuvenate, to revive, to bring life into your business. And I'm going to get a small percentage of the growth. And you're going to be rich, and I'm going to be doing very well if this works.
Tell me a little bit about your background. And one thing that made me aware of you is that during these COVID years, when a lot of small businesses were basically closed and many permanently, the companies you worked with actually all stayed open. And so just tell me a little bit about how that happened and a little bit about where you come from too, because that's connected.
And I apologize for everybody watching this that I speak fast. I used to stutter as a kid, okay? So my synapses go really fast. So you might have to watch this in slow-mo. But I knew that the Constitution is not a suggestion, and a Constitution cannot be suspended because of a pandemic. That's something I knew. Also, the Bible, I happen to be a Christian. Hebrews 10:25 tells us to not forsake the gathering, even as we draw closer to the end. So theoretically, as we're getting closer to the end of time, God is the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end for all the Christians out there. We're not supposed to stop gathering. So I knew that the pandemic couldn't temporarily suspend the Constitution. I knew that the Bible tells us to not forsake the gathering. And so to me, it was a no-brainer to stay open. Also, I have this controversial business theory I was telling you off camera a little bit, but it's hard to be open if your business is closed. And so I really leaned into my clients and I said, clients, listen, doctors, dentists, pizzerias, home remodelers, look, the models that said 2.2 million people would die from COVID, those are false. Those are made by Neil Ferguson, the Abdul Latif Jameel Institute. Whether they were wrong intentionally or accidentally, they're wrong. The PCR tests, the polymerase chain reaction tests, those can be misused, misconstrued to inflate cases. And COVID is 100% treatable with budesonide, ivermectin, and hydroxychloroquine. And a lot of my clients were going, how do you know this? And I'm going, well, a third of my clients are in the medical field. You know, so I'm working with doctors, Dr. Rashid Battar, may he rest in peace, client of mine, Dr. Zelenko, right? These are friends of mine, may he rest in peace. And they knew the models are false, the PCR tests are false, the treatments are real. However, the media, outside of One American News, Epoch, and a handful of media outlets, they were just telling everybody, we need to lock down, we need to temporarily suspend the Constitution. And to me, that was analogous to laying on the train tracks to see if it was safe while the train's approaching quickly and will certainly kill us if we don't move. It's like a case study of if we lay on the train tracks as the train runs over us, we'll see if that'll help. We'll see if locking down, shutting down, quarantining will help. Will that stop the spread? And I knew that it's going to start the spread of communism is what's going to do, because then people are going to be sitting around looking for government handouts. And so I told my clients, stay open. Be the purple cow in the field of brown cows, to quote Seth Godin, the marketing guru. Stay open. You'll be the only company that's open in your market. And so Shaw Homes is a home building company we've worked with for years. We started with them. They were at $14 million of revenue, shawhomes.com. And before they sold the company, we got them up to $150 million of revenue. Not overnight success kind of growth, but I mean a tremendous amount of growth had to do with the fact they stayed open. Pizzerias I worked with, they stayed open. And so again, if you're watching today's show and you say, what can I do with this information? The next pandemic, the next scamdemic, the next plandemic, whatever that is, it cannot temporarily suspend the Constitution, and locking down won't stop the spread of COVID or some other virus. What it will do is it will start the spread of communism.
So, Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer, also in Tulsa, I was speaking with him earlier, and the thing that kind of made him realize that there's something amiss with this closing of churches is right across the street, he had a Home Depot, if I recall correctly, a strip club, and one other kind of business that I can't remember, but all of which were open, and you had tons of people going in 24/7 in many cases, right? And he's thinking to himself, and my church is supposed to be closed here, and I'm only doing this once a week?
Well, okay, within 4 miles or 5 miles of Sheridan.Church, which is a Tulsa-based church, there is an adult, club, as he mentioned, a strip club. There was a liquor store. These places are
that's right. It was a liquor store was the other.
They were all open. Dr. Deborah Birx came out and actually said on camera that the models were false and that number was off by 25 times. So my wife is about 5'3". You guys have met her. That would be like me telling you my wife is 125 feet tall. Thus, you need to renovate your offices because she's going to come visit. I mean, the jackassery of being off by 25 times, that should have stopped the pandemic to begin with. Then those PCR tests, Kerry Mullis, may he rest in peace, the inventor of the PCR tests, he actually on camera said multiple times that a polymerase chain reaction test, a PCR test, should not be used to test something like COVID. And he explained how his tests can be misused and miscalibrated. And the Constitution is the law, or it's not. It's not a suggestion, and it cannot be temporarily suspended because of a scamdemic.
It's interesting because you say pandemic, but we're talking about the response, the way that we as a society dealt with the pandemic, because there was a virus.
Right.
And it did go around.
Right.
But it's how we deal with it is the whole story, actually. So let's go back to small business. Seeing as you're tracking the realities of small business as part of your work, how much of an impact did the whole COVID policies thing have on the small businesses, really?
Well, the average small business that I work with, when people come to me and they say, could you help me grow my company? We do what was called a 14-point analysis. Okay, so Jan, if I was talking to you and you were a business owner, I would go over, okay, what are your goals? What do your finances look like? What does your marketing look like? What does your branding look like? And we go through that sort of a business colonoscopy kind of thing. We discover that the average small business owner has about 2.5 weeks of payroll on hand, or 2.5 weeks of operating capital on hand, or maybe a little more than half a month of operating capital. Meaning that if you're a pizzeria, you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you could afford to be closed for a week and then another week before you would start to have some serious cash flow problems. And cash to a business is like blood to a human, oxygen to a human, water to a fish. It's essential to survive. And so by doing 2 weeks to stop the spread, what you did was you verified that every business would be dead. And I'm not just saying that because it rhymes, but 2 weeks to stop the spread was like verifying that every business would be dead. And so my wife and I and a lot of my longtime clients, we had built up fortification and cash flow fortification so we could withstand lean times. But most people that I knew couldn't. And so, our podcast oftentimes will have 1 million listeners a month. And I was getting text messages from listeners saying, I own a business. How am I supposed to feed my family if I'm closed for 2 weeks? So right now, if you go to usdebtclock.org and you look at it, we've got approximately under 3% of the American population that's self-employed. And according to Inc. magazine, by default, 96% of businesses fail anyway. 96%, according to Inc. magazine, fail within 10 years. So you've got a 1 out of a 1,000 shot of achieving success as a small business owner by default anyway. And you add into that lockdowns, quarantines, curfews. Think about the emotional chaos that creates in a company. It's a small business is like a family. So half of my staff at my hair business wanted to stay open. Half of them were going, let's stay open, let's cut hair. The other staff is saying, let's stay closed, I want to be safe. You transition to the remodeling company I'm involved in. Half of the employees wanted to stay open. The other half is saying, well, if we can basically not work for 2 weeks, I'll call this a vacation. And so it created a division within companies too, where some employees wanted to stay open, some wanted to stay closed. Some people were very concerned about the effectiveness of the treatments, some were not. And so it created dissension within organizations. It killed momentum. It killed rapport. It really was destructive for small business.
I mean, that's fascinating, kind of looking at it really from the inside. I mean, so even if the businesses did survive, they had to go through this extra chaos.
Yeah, I would just say I have a very intimate knowledge into the workings of the business. And I'm on the phone with dentists who are saying, my front desk lady will come to work, but my front desk guy won't. Dentists are telling me, my anesthesiologist, let's say, for the oral surgeons, he'll come to work, but the actual oral surgeon won't. So the anesthesiologist will, but the surgeon won't. I work with doctors that do knee replacements, doctors that do cosmetic surgeries of all different kinds. They're going, I can't find a hospital that'll let my patient have the knee surgery, but I can find surgeons to work it. So it created this supply chain problem. The home builders I was working with, they could find framers to frame, but they couldn't find tile guys to do the tile. So it created all sorts of disruption within the marketplace, because not only did you have to make a decision as an owner whether to keep your business open, but then you had to educate your employees from a position of weakness, because these doctors, dentists, and lawyers, they don't claim to be experts on pandemics. They claim to be experts in their given field. So it really was probably the most turbulent time to have a business, run a business, own a business. However, because I have a close-knit relationship with my clients, we were able to keep it going. And to quote John Lee Dumas, he has a podcast called eofire.com. And John Lee Dumas is a friend of mine, and he says to me, you're gonna go ahead and have your business conference during the pandemic? And I go, oh yeah. And I'm mangling the quote, but he said something to the effect of, well, I don't think you'll have a lot of competition. And so our business conference was booming. And one of there was a literary agent who represents some of the biggest authors in the world. She told me she flew to our conference and she was the only person on the plane.
How do you actually figure out who you're going to work with? Because with your particular model, it's clear you can't. It's not that anybody who wants to work with you can, because you have to make your decisions about who you think has potential, because you're going to be on the hook for it.
Well, when you got a chance to kind of shadow me a little bit off camera, I do a lot of the video editing myself. I do a lot of the web development myself. I do a lot of the accounting myself. So I'm very much hands-on. And so I like to keep a group of around 160 clients I work with. And I do these free assessments. And the reason why I do a free 13-point assessment is I just want to see, are we going to have a shalom or a win-win relationship? And there's 3 things I'm looking for. Do you actually solve a problem, or do you provide a product or a service that the marketplace would benefit from? So if somebody's selling something that I think is ethically afoul or against my Christian morals, I'm not going to work with them. So thing number 1 is, do you sell a product or service that I actually think is ethical, legal, that kind of thing? And you'd be surprised how many people are selling illegal things that want help doing it. So step number 2 is, does the person actually identify with the worldviews that I have? If I'm going to sit there and debate about the Constitution or capitalism, that's probably not the thing. So 1 is, do we have a product or service that we can actually help you scale? 2 is the person ideologically aligned with me? And then 3 is is it realistic? We want to be able to set these SMART goals. I call them SMART goals. They're SMART. I'm quoting Brian Tracy, best-selling author, but a SMART goal is a specific goal. It's a measurable goal. It's something it's actionable. You can actually take action and do it. It's realistic and it's time sensitive. SMART. Is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it actionable? Is it realistic? Is it time sensitive? Because if I can help somebody grow a company and I can see a clear path to get there, it is exciting, Jan, when you know, wow, this person's business is struggling and I can help them scale. So I think about Papa Gallo's Pizzeria in Florida. Mm-hmm. We've helped this couple grow. They've opened 3 restaurants. So since I've started working with them, we've opened up restaurant 2 and 3. They've grown their business 5-fold. I think about ShawHomes.com from 14 million to 150 million. I think about companies like OxyFresh, where I've had a role in advising them. They're now up to 500 locations. Beverly Hills Precious Metals. Here's my precious metals dealer that I've worked with for years. And to watch him scale his company, that never gets old to me. It's like infinitely exciting to help someone achieve their goals. So that's really what gets me excited. And then growing up poor or without money, I'm sure there's somebody watching this who grew up more poor. But my dad was working at a gas station, working the night shift. My dad was delivering pizzas for Domino's. May he rest in peace. In his late 30s, he's in his late 30s. He's delivering pizzas. He's working at a gas station. He has a college degree from Oral Roberts University. That wasn't a reverse shout out to ORU, but that's a fact. But yet he didn't know how to financially help our family thrive. But he had the work ethic, and I appreciate him being willing to work those 2 jobs. And so whenever I talk to that new potential client, I picture it like I'm talking to a 37-year-old version of my dad. My dad's no longer with us. He passed away from Lou Gehrig's. But that's how I look at it. And I can't communicate it with enough sincerity or passion. But every person I talk to on the phone who wants to become a client or wants to come to a conference, I pretend in my mind, maybe it's not healthy, maybe it is, that's the 37-year-old version of my father. And that's what I look for. But someone who wants the hand out, no. I don't want to do that. But this person needs a hand up. That's who I try to work with.
Well, and again, I just want to come back to this. This is what dawned on me, that I think you built your business to have to only have the people that want the hand up, because it's just not going to work with the other people.
Yeah,
You're not going to be successful. That's a great alignment of incentives. That's what I'm trying to say here.
Well, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. That book changed my life, and I encourage everyone to read it. There are 3 big principles I got out of that. One is the idea that only engage in a mutually beneficial relationship. We should never leech on our fellow man. We should never be looking for a handout. We should never be looking to the government for. We should try to have a win-win with the marketplace. The second is we want to over-deliver. Can we exceed the expectations of our clients, of our buyers? Can we exceed the expectations of our customers? And then the third is you want to surround yourself with people that have a similar goal and vision for their life. And so clients of mine, when they are clients, they also get to come to a workshop every couple months. And so that's where I get to meet people like Eric Trump. Eric Trump comes to our workshops, and the average mechanic, doctor, dentist, lawyer, home remodeler, plumber, they're going, I'm in a room with 300 people, and one of them is Eric Trump. This is incredible. Or they'll say, wow, there's 300 people in this room, and one of them is an NBA coach. I'm in a room with 300 people, and Tim Tebow is one of them. And so there's something that happens when you're in a small, intimate setting, and you're surrounded with 300 entrepreneurs, some of which are household names. There's a whole different level of electricity and of learning and of interaction that happens. And that's really the environment we try to create. We want to help people create their own virtual mastermind, their own community of people that have that energy. I'm not Amish, but as I study the Amish, I know they're very intentional about their community. And I can just tell you, we are very intentional about the community that we've built here.
Tell me about your background. So, you did grow up in kind of a humble situation, but you had some very interesting, pivots along the way.
Well, this is what happened. I'm a kid that stuttered. My dad's working 2 jobs, working at the gas station, Quick Trip, and working delivering pizzas. My mom's doing what she can do. And it occurred to me, and I don't remember the exact moment, Jan, but I remember that kind of era of my life, thinking to myself, we're poor. Although we don't care about money, every decision was somehow impacted based upon money. And I thought to myself, 12-year-old self, 13-year-old self, I'm going to find a way to make copious amounts of money so therefore I can focus on other things. Because for anybody who spends any amount of time with me, there's 3 things I'm always doing. I'm always writing songs, I'm always writing books, and I'm always writing business plans. So I get into that kind of stuff, but you can't afford to write songs that very few people listen to unless you have the time to do it. So I set out on this quest to create time freedom and financial freedom. So out of my parents' basement, I started a company called DJ Connection. Back in the day, it was called C&G DJ Service, and it was called G because the youth pastor that mentored me, he was old enough to drive a car. See, I couldn't drive a car. And so the guy who drove me to my gigs was my youth pastor, and he lost a bet and shaved a G into his very hairy chest for some reasons I don't understand. So it was C&G DJ Service named off of that. And then I basically started cold calling schools. I'm a 14-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid, cold calling schools saying, hi, who DJs your school dance? Who's in charge of organizing the school dance? And they would say, oh, that's the PTA, or that's the booster club, or that's the parent sponsors. And I say, hey, I'd love to DJ your school dance, and I'll do it for $1. And you can just pay me after the event what you think it's worth. Well, a lot of schools are infinitely disappointed in their disc jockeys. And so I started getting some gigs. I started doing 2 gigs a month, 3 gigs a month. I needed equipment. I was selling the gigs, but I didn't have any equipment. So I found a pothead by the name of Oswald, and I rented equipment from him. This is a true story. And I thought to myself, I probably don't want to be renting equipment from potheads. I probably need to have a more viable, this is my 14, 15-year-old mind. So I got a job working poured concrete, and I got a job working at the Norseman restaurant, and I got a job working as a home health aide. So I had 3 jobs simultaneously. That was my pro tip for getting rich quick. And I took every dime I had, and I just kept buying more speakers, more sound, more lights. The speakers I bought were called JBL TR225s, and these were like $500 a piece. And I tell you this because I was making $8 an hour. So if you're making $8 an hour, you got to work, 70 hours to buy a speaker, before taxes. So you got to work 80 hours per speaker. So I had 3 jobs. I'm working these 3 jobs. Eventually, I decided to go to college early because in Minnesota, if you have enough credits, you can go to college early. So I went to St. Cloud State, and I picked classes, graphic design, language, accounting, things that I thought would help me on my career. And then I transferred to Oral Roberts University. And at that point, I changed the name from C&G DJ Service to DJ Connection. And then over time, I started getting into weddings. And before I sold the company, we were doing 4,000 weddings a year, which is 80 weddings a weekend, by the way. So think about all the vans, the lights, the mic stands, the speaker stands, the lighting equipment, all the people, training these people. And then I started this thing called the Tulsa Bridal Association, which was a big bridal show. And I started one of the region's largest wedding photography companies called epicphotos.com. And what happened is the fathers of the bride would pull me aside and they would say, hey, I'm a dentist. Could you help me grow my business? Hey, I'm a doctor. Could you help me? Hey, I have a hardware store. Could you help me? And I won this thing called the SBA Entrepreneur of the Year Award, the Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award for the state of Oklahoma. I also was the City of Tulsa Entrepreneur of the Year Award for the chamber when I was 20. And I was the state's Entrepreneur of the Year when I was 27. And I kept winning these awards. And every time I would win awards, people would say, can I pick your brain? And then my wife, I give her credit. My wife says, what if you said yes instead of saying no, and you just charged them a small percentage of the growth? And I'm going, I don't know. I like DJing quite a bit. So I kind of put that idea in the back burner. And then one by one, more and more people kept being more and more persistent, asking if I could help them. And I first started working with Maytag University, and I'm working with Hewlett Packard, and I'm working with some bigger companies. They're bringing me in to speak. And I kept being asked and asked. And eventually, we found ourselves with 160 clients. And that was almost 20 years ago. So I've been doing the same thing for 20 years, and I love it.
And so that's interesting. So they would actually bring you in to speak, but then somehow that would turn into some kind of business relationship as well. Because you were this budding entrepreneur, they wanted you as an inspirational speaker or something?
Well, the way it would work is like Hewlett Packard, as an example. There's a lady by the name of Anitra, a great event planner, by the way. Anitra, if you're watching, big shout out to you. And Anitra calls me and says, hey, I work with Maytag University, and they'd like a speaker to come in to teach time management and sales. And I've watched some of your videos online, some of your samples, and I'd love to have you come speak. Could you do it? And most speakers charge per hour, Jan. They charge per hour. It's like, 10,000 for 90 minutes. Again, Napoleon Hill, I can hear it in my head, over deliver. So I would tell these event planners, for me, you get me unlimited time for 2 days. So not just per hour, unlimited time for 2 days. Any subject that you want me to talk about, I'll do it. And if anybody bails out, I'll speak. So if you have a guest speaker that cancels, I'll fill in. Well, I'm working for Maytag University. The United States Government Accountability Office brought me in to speak. And I'm at the Anatole Hotel speaking to that group. And I think 2 of the speakers canceled. So I had 3 gigs, 3 speaking slots at the same event. And I kept being known as, this is the guy who's bringing comedy and entertainment to education. But I was a former disc jockey, which is like one level lower than a carny in terms of the entertainment hierarchy, So I was this DJ entertainer who's educating, and I call it edutainment. And so what happened is more and more of the attendees would say, hey, I own a Maytag local store, and I love what you talked about. Could you help me grow my business? And I said, well, you just pay me $1,000 a month and a small percentage of your growth, and we'll do it. And they go, really? And I could usually help somebody double their revenue within 12 months. And then I'm speaking to Hewlett Packard and I'm going, this is corporate America. I don't know that this is probably my best place here. But the event planner who booked me would call me and say, hey, I love what you're doing. Could you help me grow my event planning business? And so it just kept happening where I was bumping into caterers, event planners, photographers, Farmers Insurance. I did a lot of work with their local agents. I've done a lot of work with State Farm agents, not under the brand, but with the local agents, the local entrepreneurs. Franchises started bringing me in. UPS brought me in. Somehow I found myself being the keynote speaker for UPS Canada. And it was just a lot of fun, but I've got 5 kids. And so I figured I needed to create a scalable model where I could help people in a way that it still allowed me to be a mentally and physically present father. And so that's why I have the model I do now. And that's why I don't travel to do speaking events. I typically bring the events to me.
I sat in on a number of your, consultations. Basically it's business coaching what you do.
Yeah.
Right? And with actually doing some of the work as well.
Yeah, you think about Bill Belichick, you think about Nick Saban, you think about Red Auerbach, you think about a great coach. What's a coach doing? A coach is doing 3 things. They're pushing someone to be their best. The second thing is a coach is giving you a plan. For the NFL, they don't say to each player, hey, why don't you come up with your own plan? And then when we say hike, everyone go 11 separate directions. We'll see what happens. There's a unified play. There's a strategy. There's a plan. And so a coach pushes you to be your best. A coach gives you the plan. And the third thing a coach does, and this is probably an uncomfortable word for a lot of people, I know certainly it is for me, it's accountability. Mm-hmm. And as a Christian, one of the biggest problems that I have with myself is hypocrisy. It's where, we read the Bible, we want to be a Christian. I call myself a Christian. The Bible says to do these things. And sometimes in my morning reflections, just this morning I was thinking, the Bible tells me I'm supposed to love my wife the way that Christ loved the church. And I don't know that I did that yesterday. I probably was a C-level husband yesterday. I got to at least get to a B today. And so having a coach is a great way to have kind of a mirror or that accountability, that objective feedback, that accountability to make sure that your dreams turn into actions and those actions turn into results. Because if not, you just have hope. And hope is sort of an opium that I think a lot of people in the American population have, where we just hope things are going to get better. We write songs about hoping things will get better. We watch movies about hoping. But looking for entropy or serendipity or some sort of luck for success to happen is not a valid strategy. Hope is not a valid strategy. You need somebody who can coach you down a proven plan, and that's what I do.
Tell me about the BS in business school.
Well, I primarily think that business school is primarily BS. I primarily find that business school involves talking about theories, talking about concepts, theories, and things that don't impact actually growing a company. But when you get out of business college or you start a business, you've got to learn the 4 steps to grow a company. Step 1, find a problem. Step 2, solve the problem. Step 3, sell the solution. Step 4, nail it and scale it. Because if you can't sell, your business is going to go to hell and your life will not go well. And so most people have a degree from business school, but they have no knowledge of how to actually start and grow a successful company. I call my Thrivetime show, I call it the Thrivetime Show Business School Without the BS, because I find that so many people, my father is one of these, where, again, may he rest in peace, he went to school, he was top of his class, he graduated with great grades, but he had no concept of how to turn his goals to own a business into reality. One of the gentlemen, he came to our conference, he had terminal cancer. By the way, in through the grace of God, he did not die. His name is Bob Healy, and all your listeners can go verify his story. It's grillblazer.com, grillblazer.com. He showed up at one of my conferences with a quasi-functional prototype, meaning it's a prototype that wasn't polished, for a thing called the grill gun, which is like a flamethrower for grilling. And he had never sold any. He had never had a team. He never employed people. He didn't have a website, didn't have a logo, didn't have a brand, didn't have a marketing plan, but he had a prototype. And Bob came to me and said, help me. And grillblazer.com is now a massively successful company that's becoming a household name in many American homes. He's kind of like the grill master now. And that's a guy named Bob who is battling health issues, marketing issues, branding issues, accounting issues, and Bob couldn't find financing either. We actually helped Bob raise all the money to sell the product.
Well, so this is the other thing I was going to ask you about. What about, how do you view, venture capital or people coming in from the outside to support you?
Well, in Bob's case, we helped Bob do a crowdfunding campaign to help him raise money. In my case, I did the controversial strategy of working at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV, all while growing DJConnection.com. And whenever you get capital, there's 3 C's that come with capital, 3 C's. So whoever invests in your business, there's 3 C's that come with it. Yeah, you get the money, but 3 C's come with it. 1 is counsel. The people who invest in you are going to want to steer the direction you go. It's going to happen. Number 2, connections. When you take capital from, let's say, Sequoia Capital or whatever the capital company is, the big venture capital fund, they're going to have a certain political worldview, a way they view the world. I mean, Silicon Valley views the world a certain way. Middle America views the world a certain way. Some people are right of center, some people are left of center. But the moment you start to take in capital into your business, you start to lose some sovereignty. So you get 1, you're going to get the counsel. Okay, the 2, you're going to get the connections. And then the 3rd is you're going to get the money, which seems obviously the capital. But I think a lot of times people think about capital in terms of, I'll just get the money and then I can go along and grow my company. No, you get the money, but you now have the connection to people that you might or might not align with. And you now are going to get their counsel or their coaching, and it might not be what you want. So I would encourage everybody out there, if possible, try to find a way to self-fund or fund from people you know. And the best book ever written on how to raise venture capital is called Pitching Hacks. Pitching Hacks. It's written by Naval Ravikant. And it is super small and super powerful. Pitching Hacks. You can download it for free. Their PDF version's available online.
And that will help you figure out how to get money in a more independent way?
He teaches the specific linear process to go through to raise money. But I would just tell you, before you try to raise money from people you don't know, let's say you needed to raise $50,000. It's better to go to 10 people you know and get $5,000 from 10 people who could afford to lose it than it is to bring in an outside investor who you don't know that well, who may or may not want to dramatically change the way in which you do business. And I'll just give you a brief example. There was a franchise I worked with years ago, and the owner of the business was very conservative, and he took in outside capital, and the outside venture capitalist wanted him to take his business in a very DEI way, the diversity, the equity, the inclusion, the very woke agenda. And he really, really had a hard time because the investor wanted to dramatically alter the course of the business. And I'm not an advocate for the woke investor, but the woke investor is saying, hey, I gave you all this money and without me, your business wouldn't exist. So we're going to go this way. And I had to help that business owner decouple the business from the financing. And it was a kind of a painful experience. So when possible, don't secure outside financing from people that you don't align with or people that you're not equally yoked with.
Bringing back manufacturing is a centrally important feature of America being successful. Some of that is going to be small business. How many of your businesses are small or manufacturing, and how can that be done in your mind?
I believe that my client portfolio is very indicative of the American entrepreneurial portfolio as a country. About 10%, I would say, ish of our portfolio has to do with manufacturing. So I think of one of my clients, it's called Master Machine, mmm-usa.com. They make parts for Tesla. They make parts for the U.S. Army. That's a company right here in Oklahoma that does manufacturing. I think of another brand I work with, Grid Down, Chow Down. They sell mRNA-free meat. I think about, as I mentioned, the case study of Shaw Homes, the home builder we work with, or Sky House Home Builders. They're building real things right here in America. And I would tell people as a pro tip, you never want to outsource your core competency. Exporting jobs to China started under Nixon, but that's just complete jackassery to outsource 95% of our essential medical supplies to countries that hate us. We have these essential metals, these essential elements needed to make car batteries, to make cars. And we have outsourced that to the point where the majority of the countries that hate us are the ones who are procuring these essential elements needed to make manufacturing possible. So America needs to do, I know you recently interviewed Eric Trump, and Eric talked about this. We've got to bring manufacturing back to America. We've got to do it. And so anybody out there that has that dream to make jeans in America, make a tie in America, make shirts in America, make shoes in America, make clothing in America. I encourage everybody really seize this opportunity under the Trump administration and find a way to bring manufacturing back to these United States. We saw it happen a little bit under President Trump and Dr. Ben Carson. We saw an urban renewal. Dr. Carson was instrumental in bringing investments into urban development areas that basically the world had given up on. And they brought in great restaurants and nightlife and entertainment, and they rejuvenated, they put life and investment capital into these abandoned buildings and revitalized a lot of downtowns. I know we can do the same thing with manufacturing. So if you're watching today's show and you have the ability to reinvigorate manufacturing in America, I would encourage you to do so. And I don't speak for the Trump administration, but I know they are really wanting to team up with and support and to breathe life into entrepreneurs that want to bring manufacturing back into these United States.
There's this idea that a country can't be successful without this core element of manufacturing. There's this philosophy, right? Do you subscribe to this, that the bulk of manufacturing has to be within a country for it to even be successful ultimately? It can't be service oriented. It can't be.
I'm working with a client in Wisconsin who has a home remodeling company, okay? And he actually does beautiful home remodeling. He does great work. Well, he's not outsourcing the manufacturing and the remodeling of a house to somebody who can do the work because he can't. He does the work himself. Therefore, when he talks to, in this fictitious example, he talks to the Thompsons, and the Thompsons say, you know what? I want the pool table to go here. I want the lighting to go here. I want to move this to create this ambiance. This client who I actually work with in Wisconsin, he's able to get in there, get in the conversation with the client and rearrange the building plan to accommodate the client's needs. He can do that. But if he was outsourcing that to a third world country or a second world country or some country not here, it would be very hard to make those real-time modifications. So my client, yes, he's a home remodeler, but I would argue he's almost a plumber. He's almost an electrician. He's almost a designer. He's almost a sales guru. He's almost a manager. He's almost an accountant. He's wearing a lot of hats. And this is what you call a polymath, okay? And a lot of the founding fathers were polymaths. I challenge anybody out there to look up the life of Benjamin Franklin and tell me what career he was in. Thomas Jefferson, what career? Look up George Washington, what career? What career were these people? Were they politicians? Were they military leaders? Were they entrepreneurs? I would say a lot of our founding fathers were all of these skill sets. And I think it's a good idea to be resourceful. Now, what happens is when we outsource our core competency to countries that hate us, by the way, what does that even do? I mean, I don't even understand how that's a sustainable idea. To make some of the cutting edge military technology that America's military now uses, we have to import certain technology from countries that hate us to make military weapons to defend us. That doesn't even make sense. Think about that. If you go, let's go back to the time of kings and queens and castles, and imagine that you are a king trying to protect your castle, and you have to get behind your castle walls and yell out on your castle, megaphone, excuse me, enemy, could you please ship us spears? We are trying to protect ourselves. And
From you.
Yeah, from you.
Right.
And then the hostile enemy says, sure, how many spears do you need? I mean, just the jackassery, the duality, the mental gymnastics I have to go through to understand how outsourcing our core components, our core resources, our core manufacturing to countries that hate us, I just can't do it. Also, the CCP, they are not a competition, they are an enemy. The Chinese Communist Party does forced organ harvesting. The Chinese Communist Party has no problem with sending people to re-education camps. The Chinese Communist Party is not somebody that we should be working with. You do not want to be investing heavily into a country that has a ideological hatred towards your worldview and who has psychopathic tendencies. It's just not a good idea.
So you're a big fan of repatriating the supply chains to America, basically.
It's just wisdom. America, we have the resources right now to desalinate unbelievable amounts of water. If there was a water shortage, if you believe that there's a water shortage in California, we can desalinate. Think about Israel. How does Israel maintain a self-sufficient country? It's the size of New Jersey. It's surrounded by countries that hate it. I mean, if Israel can stand up for freedom and be able to be self-sustaining, think about Israel. They've turned, desolate land into rich, plentiful farmland. I mean, America, we have the tools, the technology, the drive, the critical thinking. We have the population needed to become self-sufficient, and we should be. America should be a net exporter of oil. America should be a net exporter of automobiles. America should be a net exporter of technology. We should not be importing. And this idea of becoming an importing nation that provides services primarily, what that does is that sets the foundation for becoming a slave state of a Chinese communist totalitarian regime.
There's this term that's often used, whole of society, right? And that can mean different things. Whole of society could mean, like in communist China, where the Communist Party, the supremacy of the party is complete, and the party dictates what happens on down, and the whole of society has to follow because that's how it works. But whole of society can also mean something else. It could also mean bottom up, right? Which means, people basically working together, getting inspired to do, start their small business, be entrepreneurial, come up with new ideas, come up with new manufacturing concepts, theories, and actually just get down and do the hard work of raising, the rising tide lifts all boats, right? And so, as we finish up, let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, years ago, there was a gentleman who personifies the American dream. His name's Kevin Thomas. Everyone can look him up. His company is called MultiClean. Everyone can look him up. I think it's multicleanok.com. And Kevin made a profound statement. He said that if he could have just 5 employees, that would be success. You say, well, what does Kevin do? It's a janitorial service. You'd say, well, what does a janitorial service do? He cleans commercial buildings. And Kevin made that profound statement. If I could just have 5 employees, that would be success. Kevin came and spoke at my last conference because we filled the conference full of success stories. I have at least 15 to 20 success stories at every client, real people. And Kevin, if you look at Kevin, he's not the tallest guy in the room. He doesn't come across like he's some entrepreneurial pedigree. He doesn't look like he's been, he doesn't look like the Hollywood entrepreneur. He doesn't look like he's on some reality TV show. He doesn't look like he's a celebrity. He just looks like a very normal person, just like me, just like you. And at the last conference, somebody put their hand up and they said, well, Kevin, you're having a lot of success. How many employees do you have now? He says, just a hair over 350. Think about that for a second. So this guy, Kevin Thomas, had a goal to have just 5 employees. He thought entrepreneurship wasn't quite for him, that maybe he didn't have the education, he didn't have the marketing background, he didn't have the accounting, he didn't have the skills. But what he did is he went on over to thrivetimeshow.com, that's where I live, thrivetimeshow.com, and he went there and said, you know what, I'm going to fill out the form, and I'm going to schedule a call with this crazy guy, and we'll just see what happens. He has 350 employees. He's one of the most successful people in his town. And I share that story because everybody out there, you can become successful. And when you are, money's a magnifier, good and bad, by the way. So money allows you to be more of who you are. So if you're a generous person who loves to donate and celebrate and tithe to your local church or community or your outreach, you can give more. Money allows you to be more, to give more, to be, it allows you to just magnify who you are. And so if you're watching this show and you're kind of in the mind space where my 37-year-old father was, where he was delivering pizzas at Domino's Pizza, which, again, great company. We're appreciative for that opportunity. He was working at Quick Trip gas stations, and we appreciate that opportunity too. He's working the night shift, and I have not an ounce of resentment that my father was working the night shift during my years growing up. I respect him for doing it. But if you feel like, man, success has passed me by, Kevin was a guy, in his early 40s who's having these thoughts, and now he's profoundly successful. Clay Stairs, who's now an Oklahoma state representative, he started his entrepreneurial path when he was 47 years old, and now he's super successful. Bob Healy had terminal cancer and was in his early 60s, and now Grill Blazer is booming. I can list off examples all day, but everybody out there, if you have the mental capacity and tenacity to listen to today's interview, I promise you have what it takes to do it as an entrepreneur.
Well, Clay Clark, it's such a pleasure to have had you on.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining Clay Clark and me on this episode of American Thought Leaders. I'm your host, Yanya Kellick.
This nozzle on the top, you slightly turn like almost nothing, so a little bit of the gas starts coming out, and then you press the trigger. You can either turn the nozzle on the top to have more power, and this one here is a full power trigger, basically madness. You push it down and yeah. It is a lot of fun. Check it out!
You're gonna super glue that? I will.
I'm Bob Healy, and I'm originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm in the charcoal grilling industry, and the name of my business is Grill Blazer. How will I apply what I've learned so far into my business? I'm actually a client of Thrive 15, and I learn so much from what I'm learning at this conference and from my regular weekly attendance that it's helping me establish the business and get it off the ground. Everything that you see is authentically Clay. It's a great deal of fun. Everybody enjoys it. They know when they walk in, they think they're coming into a carnival, and frankly they are. It's just great fun. There's not another conference like it. You just don't go to a carnival atmosphere and learn like you do here at a Thrive conference. It's great. The reason people should attend at least one of these conferences is because it's common sense. And everybody's fed an entire line about the way you should run a business, but until you actually experience running a business, which is candidly what you learn here, how to run a business, you don't know what you're doing.
On today's show, we find ourselves at the intersection and entrepreneurship as we interview the founder of the grill gun product, Mr. Bob Healy. This engineer of over 30 years has invented a product that combines the look of a gun and that shoots fire so that you can light your charcoal grill within just 60 seconds. But before we talk about Bob and his beautiful, glorious grill gun, let's talk about the products that I've almost invented. Let's talk about the products that you've almost invented. Let's talk about the ideas we've all had that we have not acted upon. Jason, I couldn't sleep all last night. I had this awesome idea.
Oh, no.
Check it out. This idea is going to change the world. Are you familiar with babies?
I used to be one.
Okay, so babies spend all their time doing what?
Crying, eating, pooping?
Crawling.
Ah.
Sure, they crawl, right?
Yes.
So what if we converted their onesie? You know how they wear like one thing?
Oh, yeah.
The onesie where it's like the top and the bottom?
Yeah, it's like a baby sock.
What if we turned that into a mop? So it could be called the baby mop. So your baby's mopping the
and
floor.
And they just clean as it goes. Oh.
Yes.
That's probably the worst idea I've ever heard in my life.
What? I thought deeply about that for several minutes. That idea was going to be my path to financial freedom and riches. Okay, fine. You want to rain on my parade? I have another idea. I thought about this last Tuesday. It's incredible. Men like to do what? They get kind of older. They have some success. They're looking to relax. They want to
Get a prostate exam.
18 holes.
Well, that's out.
They want to go
Golf.
right. And guys often have to go to the bathroom, right? And when guys go to the bathroom, typically they do what? When they're going to the bathroom, they're looking for a magazine.
Right, they read.
They read now, but what if they invested the time they normally spent reading and spent that time perfecting their putting game? Jason, it's so easy. We could just take the floor around the toilet and turn that into a putting green. No one's thought of this.
Yeah, because it's a bad idea.
You could practice putting while pooping.
That is the worst.
It's the
Please
poop
stop.
the poop putt. The poop putt.
Yeah?
That's it.
Oh, yeah?
The poop putt.
Well, hey, this idea is special
I knew
because
it.
it is, in fact, the worst idea that anybody has ever had.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Thrive Nation, welcome back to another exciting edition of the Thrivetime Show on your radio and podcast download. And Dr. Z, today's show guest deserves some cowbell.
Oh, and he got 4 yeses, too. I know when you fire off a show with 4 yeses, you are fired up and ready to go.
Now, Z, I wanted to allow this listener to be introduced with a kind of a subtle hype intro.
Yes, okay.
So I brought my megaphone with me, and so we'll go ahead and tee it up here. Let me get this ready here. Here we go. Here we go. All right, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we have the inventor of the grill gun, Mr. Bob Healy, an engineer with over 30 years of experience. He's the founder of this great new product. Bob, welcome onto the show. How are you?
Wow.
Oh, I'm just fine, Clay. Thank you. Thank you both, Dr. Z and Clay, for having me on today.
Well, tell the listeners out there who are not familiar with the grill gun. I think anybody out there, if you've ever wanted to be an inventor, it's a tough road to go. It's a tough road to go down. See, it's a tough road. And all the listeners right now, if you will go to grillblazer.com, that's grillblazer.com, you can see this product, so you can check it out while he's talking. You can look at it and marinate on it and see it. Talk to us about this grill gun, and when did you first get the idea to make the grill gun?
Oh, well, so the grill gun is a high-powered torch. It's designed to be able to conveniently light charcoal grill in just minutes rather than tens of minutes or half an hour at a time, something like that. It's really not even a tool or a type of tool that people have been or could be familiar with because it's entirely new, both in its purpose and in its appearance. What you do with the grill gun is you use it to light a charcoal grill, and it's designed to fit in your hand comfortably and use safely while you actually light the charcoal almost instantly, warm up your grill, sterilize the grates, start cooking over your charcoal or your smoker, your wood smoker, offset smoker in just minutes. The whole notion of lighting a charcoal grill pretty much instantly is not something that people have done. I know there are a lot of YouTube guys that are out there and people like me who sort of we really like the idea of starting a charcoal real fast and not having to use lighter fluid or wait around on a charcoal chimney or any of the other things that are done for it. And when you light a charcoal with a 400,000 BTU torch, you're basically setting that charcoal on fire and you're cooking off all the debris that's on the grills, and at the same time you're bringing the whole grill up to temperature. So you basically are doing it in just when I go grilling, I'm cooking in 2 or 3 minutes after I start the process.
And Bob,
it's a year-round activity.
And Bob, you're feeling like a man.
Yeah.
You feel like a man.
You're like Rambo of the grill.
I mean, come on now. You just feel like a man. It's a man gun.
Well, it's it's pretty amazing watching people, their reaction to it, because it just does hit that Y chromosome pretty hard. You're feeling like a man. You're out there, it's 25 degrees. You like to grill. You know, you can run back in the house where it's warm, but it doesn't matter. You can grill year round. It doesn't have to be an outdoor summertime activity, even though, you know, that's how a lot of people like looking at it.
Now, my understanding is, okay, so we have a grill gun here. This thing can help our listeners light their charcoal grill in 60 seconds, and it's fun, Z. It's fun. It is fun.
Oh, it's fun.
But what does it look like, the grill gun? Does the grill gun, I mean, I've seen some pretty, you know, I don't know the technical term for it, but I've seen some pretty weak versions of what Bob is creating. I've seen people who've tried to create a grill torch.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like it's just
try again.
And it has the class. Some of these products have the class and quality of like the Chinese finger locks, the paper locks.
Oh, don't kid yourself. That's
so talk to me about this. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Does this feel like a man gun, or does it feel like a meh?
I think one person who interviewed or actually reviewed it said he felt like he had seen Prometheus for the first time. And it was so intense a feeling of looking at a torch that looks like a pistol, like a 45 or a Glock or something like that, a semi-automatic slide action pistol that has a long bell on it. It's about 22 inches long in order to get the barrel away from you so that you can use it without burning yourself. But it looks like a gun. It feels like a gun. It shoots fire. You hold on to it. It fits nicely in your hand. It's well balanced. And you use it to really just basically flood the grill with the heat that you need in order to bring it up to the temperature you want to cook in just, you know, under a minute.
Now, Z, I want to get into the businessy kind of things. This is a business show.
It technically is a business show.
So it's business school without the BS.
Come on now.
So, Bob, you made the product. Z, that's step one. You got to have your product.
That helps.
So step one, you have the product. It's a product idea, step one. Step two, nobody, Z, I'm talking about almost nobody ever goes to step two, and that is make a prototype.
Oh,
check.
Prototype.
He's got he has the prototype. He got the idea.
Yep.
He's got the prototype.
Yes.
Step three, we got to try to sell something.
You got to sell it, baby.
Sell something. Sell
for more
something,
than you make
sell
it.
Something.
That's the key.
So I want to ask you this. Talk to us about if someone wants to buy this thing, can they buy it? What's been your road like of seeing if someone wants to buy it? Because I know you did a demo at the Thrivetime Show conference for our attendees.
Oh yeah.
And I think about 1/3 of the people in attendance, I could be wrong, but I think about 1/3 of the people in attendance said, I definitely want to buy one of these like right now. How can the listeners get a hold of this? How can they buy one? Tell us about selling something.
Okay, so the process of putting this out on the market is when you're trying to bootstrap something up from the bottom without having venture capital or something like that step in and say, here, you need this money, let's go for it. You actually have to determine whether or not people want what you have, what they're willing to pay for what you've got, and then how are you going to get it made? And so I had to figure out, well, first off, there's torches. You can get a torch today if you go down to a hardware store. You can buy one, and it's long, and it's got a long hose, and it goes to a 20-pound tank, and you can look like the dork like I have done for the last 10 years, you know, standing back and flaming up my charcoal grill. And if you want to do that, knock yourself out. Go ahead and do it. And I like I said, I've been doing that for a long time, and I decided to make something that really did the job right. And so it's the same sort of technology in that you're putting high intense fire on a grill, but how do you make that into something that people want? And how do you get it in front of them? So if your listeners have gone to grillblazer.com, they're already taking a look at this. They can see what it looks like, but they can't hold it in their hand.
Why?
And what they can, the reason they can't hold it in their hand is because it's on a computer screen, and they need to order one in order to get one. But in order to do that, that's the hardest part about launching this endeavor is where you're going to come up with the capital to make it happen. And I decided to go the crowdfunding route. And so what I'm asking people to do is to go to the website and entertain themselves, figure out if this is for them. And if it's not, you know, move along. But if it is for them, then take it on good faith that what I'm doing in crowdfunding is I'm using that tool, that whole platform. There are a couple of them out there. I'm looking right now pretty hard at Kickstarter But you use that platform to allow people to come out and say, I want one, I'll back you, and when you make them, you send them to me. And so the process is pretty straightforward. You basically are pre-selling them. You say, I'm going to make them. If I hit the minimum threshold that I need to have in order to be able to have the finances to make it work, then I can build them. And that's really my business. I've done this all my life. I've made things. It's the easy part is for me. It's my wheelhouse to create a product and figure out how to build it and how to make it a high quality product. But the new part, my new venture really is being out on the sales edge and on the financing edge. How are you going to fund it? How are you going to turn it into a business that everybody wants to get behind? So in order for them to get their hands on one right now, they really can't. I've got a dozen of them that I've made that are prototypes. I've sent them out. People have used them. They kind of rotate around in a pool of grill guns that can be used for the purpose of promotion. But it's a 4 to 6 month process to actually get them in your hands. And so if I were to, like for instance, today with this podcast, with your audience, if enough people actually went out there and said, I want to do this, I want one of those things. And they simply said, in my little get yours now page on the website, if they were to say, I want to support this, I want to do this, then before Christmas, even before Thanksgiving, they could be in production and in your hands. And that's the beauty of crowdfunding, and the direction that I'm taking it here is that I can launch it, I can have it in people's hands, and we can be going down the road.
Bob, for the listeners out there who maybe are pondering, they're going, is this guy delusional? Is this guy crazy? You are a man with an engineering background. How many years have you been an engineer?
Let's see. I'm going to give away my age here, but it's been almost 40 years.
So how many of these people do you need out there right now to say, I want to buy one before we can get this thing in the hands of America?
Well, the way crowdfunding works is you actually set your deadline, your minimum that you absolutely have to have. And I absolutely have to have 1,400 people, that's 1,400, say, I want to have one. And I'm a tenth of the way there after having just a few weeks of just doing advertisement on Google and Facebook. And so the whole Kickstarter community is bigger than that. And so it seems like a real doable number. And if people were to actually just believe that it will happen, if they like it well enough and they say, yeah, I'll support you, then what will happen is when I see that I actually have people up over that number, then I'm going to just email everybody. And so you'd want to put in your email and your text number, and then I'll just do a broadcast to everybody, say the Kickstarter website's up, it's live, go fund it. And as soon as I see that actually has happened and it's funded, then I can actually start the manufacturing process going.
Bob, what made you come up with the grill gun? What were you thinking? Did you fall and hit your head
on the toilet seat?
Did you have a bad accident as a kid from a burn?
This
there's something.
Cream, this yogurt is curdled.
That's crust.
I feel sick.
Oh,
look what I just drew with my vomit. It's the grill blazer.
How does that happen? Do you have a dream? And this mythical grill gun came to you in the dream and said, make me. What happened?
All of the above. It was.
I was outside talking to a horse. This is what he said to do.
I've been saying, I've been doing this for a long time and putting up with buying torches that a weed torch, a torch that puts out that kind of heat, 400,000 and up BTU is, it's going to burn up fairly quickly. And so I've gone through several of them over the last decade, and I thought, nobody does this. And people come over and they watch me grill. I grill every single week and or smoke something. And so lots of friends and stuff are used to coming over, and they hear the roar of the jet engine as I light the grill and start cooking things in just a minute or two. And they think it's really funny and really cool, but they don't see themselves with this giant long torch hosing down a grill. And so it was a year ago in December 2018, that I was out there grilling, and I thought, if I'm either going to put up with this nonsense for the rest of my life, or I'm going to do something about it. So I just said, I didn't know what a grill gun was. I hadn't ever seen one before. I thought, well, something is better than this. And what is it going to be? And so I went to some friends and my family. I got sons-in-law and sons that are opinionated, and I like their opinions. And so I basically started asking them questions and then formed a list of what we need to have. And then I got busy modeling it. And it was about, so that was December. And it's probably in February, everybody said, oh, you're on to something here. And then by May, I had it, a year ago May, so not quite a year ago, I actually had prototypes in my hand. And I then started going down the other channels of, okay, how do I build this? How do I get this cost effective so that I can make it and people can buy it for a reasonable price? And utmost important was the quality of it. So I've designed this to where I'm going to be proud to use every single grill gun that I have for years, not for once or twice or for half a season before it burns up. So it was just a process of saying, I don't know what it is that's going to make my life better, but I know when I see it, I'm going to like it. And so, again, if you're on the website and or your listeners have listened to and gone to the website, they know what I'm talking about here. It's pretty appealing design, and it's really durable, really well designed.
So, Bob, you're basically a big pyro. That's really what it boils down to.
Oh, yeah.
You're a big pyro.
Well, I'm not as much a pyro as the people that want it. I've heard a lot of people say this is all kinds of stories about how I've been a pyro my whole life and that sort of thing. And not me, but I can appreciate that there are people that like fire a whole lot.
Now let's talk about this grill gun. Let's get into the rough questions now, the rough ones,
the tough ones.
All right.
Will this blow up? If I turn it on, boom. Will it? What are the chances? I turn it on. What are the chances I incinerate myself?
Pretty small. You'd have to be deliberate wanting to do that, because what you're working with is propane gas, and propane gas is explosive. So you could do things that I warn you not to do, like you could turn on the grill gun inside the house and just let it run like that for a while, and then say, okay, I think I got enough propane in here, and then light it. I wouldn't advise that.
That's not a best practice move.
That's not a top 3 thing to do.
Not on top.
No, so the real problem in trying to design and sell something like this, where you're handling that much heat, I'm dealing with the same sort of thing that every torch manufacturer out there has. You've got to build something that's safe, and then you have to warn people about how to use it, because the nuts and bolts of it is you have a propane source, a small 1-pound can, or you can tie it into a 20-pound bottle, and you've got to screw that onto the bottom of the grill gun, and now you've pressurized the grill gun, and that affords the opportunity for the gas to come out the bell. And so when the gas comes out the bell, you want to light it when it comes out, so that you're not just expelling propane in the air, which is explosive. Because if you burn it while it's coming out the bell, you don't have any danger. And there's nothing about the gun itself or the design of the self where it's going to pocket enough propane to explode on its own. It couldn't do that. But what it could do is you could vent it into an environment that, where the gas is itself explosive. But this is not new. The grill gun itself is some really innovative new technology, but the notion of taking gas out of a gas container, propane gas out of a bottle and lighting it on fire is, tried and true for decades. So I'm not doing anything there that's in any way dangerous that would create a problem for anybody to operate one.
What have been, and I want to ask Bob, I'm now going to ask Bob the really tough questions.
Are you going deep? You're going deep.
What has been, as you're building the grill gun, which you can learn more about at the grillblazer.com. It's grillblazer.com. See, that's grillblazer.com. And for all the listeners out there who are going onto the website right now, they're looking at it, what's been the toughest part of trying to take your idea that you are, and I mean this in a nice way, you are passionate in a way about this product that doesn't make sense to most people. Most people like to grill.
Oh, yeah.
And most people want to light the grill in 60 seconds. But most people aren't willing to invest this kind of money and time into coming up with a solution. Bob, as you've been trying to provide the world's best grilling tool possible, what has been the most challenging part of doing this?
Really everything except for designing it and setting up the manufacturing. I mean, it's hard to actually pin that down to one thing, but getting getting in front of people who can help influence, or charcoal influencers, and getting them to pay attention and helping me promote this notion. It's basically you can have the best tool of anything, whatever you want, and if nobody knows about it, you know, you're just sitting there holding them. I could make 5,000 grill guns and put them out in my garage, and then next year I still have 5,000 grill guns out there. So it really is trying to get an audience that wants to buy them. And so it wouldn't make any sense for me to just get excited, 1,400 people excited to buy one and then launch my Kickstarter campaign and then crickets, nobody wants any. So it's the whole aspect of marketing and sales. That's the hard part, because everything else is pretty straightforward.
Z, you've told me for years I'm one of the best tools that the world has not heard of yet.
I have, and I promise you, Bob, if you put 5,000 of those in your garage, you're going to end up with 4,999. Because I'm going to come over and snipe one of them. So there you have it.
Z, what tough questions do you have for Bob about the process? Because there's so many listeners out there who want to be an inventor. They want to launch a product. He's done step 1. He had the idea. Step 2, though, he made the prototype. Step 3, he's got to try to sell it. As he's in that pre-selling phase, and it's a weird deal because you got to sell enough to get the money needed to produce a lot. Z, what rude question do you have for Bob? What strong advice did you have for Bob? What do you got there?
How much money do you need right now?
I need $100,000, and if you want to write me a check, Z, I will drive into town.
What are you willing to give up for $100,000? I mean, like a kidney.
Obviously, I'm willing to give up whatever it would take in the form of a loan, and I would also be willing to give up, negotiate on a piece of the equity in the company for whatever the investor thinks that it's worth.
Well, there's
so that's always a negotiation point.
Yeah, there's hundred thousands, tens of thousands of people that'll be listening to this podcast, i.e. radio show. And somewhere, someone's going to get on there and look at grillblazer.com, which I have been looking at now for the entirety of the podcast, looking at it and remembering my experience with the Grill Blazer. It was a cool product.
It's cool.
And I'm sitting out there thinking there's probably somebody out there that does this. They've got their money in a savings account drawing nothing. Maybe they got a few thousands in the stock market.
And they're willing to put 100,000 on 10 different businesses, and hopefully one hits.
And they go to themselves. They go to their website. And they go, okay.
How much?
Yeah.
What do I get for 100,000?
So how does somebody contact you? What's the best way to contact you? Somebody's listening out there going, you know what? I may want to. It depends on the equity piece you give up. It depends on a lot of things, but still that's negotiable. We don't want to go into that right now in the air. But how does somebody contact you and start that process?
Well, the most direct way that'll get to me is Bob at grillblazer.com. And if you don't know anything about the internet and you don't have email and you do have a rotary dial phone, then you could dial 918-960-9690.
What's that number again?
918-960-9690. I think I might have said that wrong the first time.
No,
918-960-9690.
Yeah, it's on your website.
Now, Bob, as we wrap up today's show, what final question do you have for Dr. Zellner? Dr. Zellner is Z, you're a guy that people Shark Tank you all the time. They're always wanting to pick your brain for business tips. Z, is it okay if he asks you any question?
Absolutely.
Okay, Bob, what question do you have for Dr. Z as we wrap up today's show?
So, do you, Dr. Z, have an impression, just having seen the grill gun and and you've seen people's reaction to it. Do you think that this is something that is, that is a thing that is going to go?
Okay, first of all, I do have an impression. I do Forrest Gump fairly well. That's my boat, Jenny. I was just running. We were like peas and carrots. So I got a couple of impressions that I do. Number one, on sidebar, you probably don't want to hear all of them today, but
that was a good one though.
Thank you.
Can I do this?
Thank you, Clay.
As you're formulating your answer, I'm just going to cue up a little motivational quote that you once. This is a voicemail. I think it came from you to me.
Oh, I did.
And this was then during that phase of our career and life where you called me Happy. That was my nickname, was Happy. I'm just going to cue it up.
Okay, good.
And I'll cue that up as you formulate your answer. That way, what your feedback you give Bob will not either be super euphorically awesome or soul crushing. We don't want that Simon Cowell moment to happen without a lot of premeditative thoughts. So here we go.
I got two thoughts on that.
You got to rise above it. You got to harness the good energy, block out the bad. Harness, energy, block, bad. Feel the flow, Happy. Feel it. It's circular. It's like a carousel. You pay the quarter, you get on the horse. It goes up and down and around. Circular, circle, with the music, the flow. All good things.
All good things.
All right.
Two things, Bob, to answer your serious question. That is, yes, I think it's pretty cool. And I do think there's a market for it. I don't know how many times people look at me and say, there's nothing to buy you. What do you buy the man who has everything? A grill gun.
Agreed.
Number two, I would do my best effort to approach Hasty Bake, to approach Oklahoma Joe's, to approach some barbecue places that, barbecue, i.e., is grilling by almost definition, right, anymore. I would maybe do a co-sponsorship. Maybe it's the...
But what if they steal my idea?
Well, then that's just what you have them sign an NDA before you approach them, and then you talk to them about co-marketing, co-branding this.
But what if they say no?
Then you go to the next one. You knock on another door.
But who do I call?
Ghostbusters. No, I'm sorry. You start off, you make a list, you make your top 100, you make a top 10, top 12, top 50, okay, of people that might be interested in co-managing this with you. Now you're going to have to give up some of the juice. You already said, hey, for $100,000, I'm going to give up some equity position anyway. So maybe you go to somebody who themselves are in the grilling business.
How much would you be willing to give up? You see, if you were in Bob's shoes, let's say, and you get a deal with Hasty Bake says, we love it. Let's do it. How much equity would you be prepared to give up on a product that would be stillborn, essentially, without funding? How much would you, Z, advise a young man to say, hey, I'm willing to give up? You should be prepared to give up to this much of your company for that funding.
Well, it depends on the amount, and it depends on what I feel like I've already put into it personally. I don't know how much money you've put into this already, but you have put some money in. You have put some time in. I would be able to document that, and I'd be able to get that a reasonable amount of money for that. Okay, how much is the invention worth? Reasonable. How much time have you put in? Reasonable. And how much physical money have you put into it? These are all reasonable numbers that a businessman would want to see.
Shunda.
And so then if 100,000 is a third of that, then I would say they're giving up a third of the equity. I mean, money is money. Cash talks.
So you're saying if Bob put in 100,000 of his own money,
and
Hasty Bake says, hey, we're going to put 100,000, and you said you might be willing to give up 49%.
Correct. I mean, you at the most you want to negotiate. You want to negotiate.
But I mean, at the most,
you've got to be ready for that because
you got to be ready for it.
Right. It's kind of like, well, okay, you got 100,000 in. If I'm putting 100,000 in, why are we not more equal? Why are you only going to give up 2% of the company? Don't be stupid like that. You watch Shark Tank and all. Those guys come on there with these ridiculous asks.
So, Bob, does that feedback help you? And do you have any final closing question?
Just drill into that question a little bit deeper. It really wasn't so much how much to give up as you see, Dr. Z, you see a lot of stuff. People try and Shark Tank you all the time. And I'm just curious if I were, not that I'm going to do this, but I just mean on the quality of the kind of product that comes across your desk. Is this the kind of thing that you see that has legs, or is this the kind of thing that you say, next, let's go do something else?
I think it has legs. I think it's kind of fun. It's kind of a fun novelty, but yet useful gift.
It's a gun.
And really, your final price point on it is going to be roughly what? What are you thinking?
Just for easy talking purposes, $100, but that includes shipping. So
see, I think 150. I think 150. I think a guy would pay 150 because this is a completely unnecessary item.
Well, that's the fun of it. I think, though, you keep it $99.99.
Really,
you know.
$99.99.
Yeah.
What if it was like in the shape of an Uzi or an AR? I mean, for an AR
It
themed
looks pretty
one.
cool. It looks pretty cool. It looks like James Bond would go and take over.
But I mean,
country
if
with
they had
this.
like an AR version, I mean, would you spend up to $150?
You might have different. You could have a rifle. You could have a
rifle.
little 22 version, little bitty flame. If you're a cigar lighter, you want to light your cigar. The grill blazer, the grill gun could be, you could have different variations. Down the road, you could have the. I'm serious. I'm going to pump up the fire.
Or you could have a product that's always fun. You give the gift, and it's the grill blazer line of landmines.
Yeah, that's also fun too.
So it just randomly starts. You
just blow it up.
You say, hey, I buried that in your yard, and at some point it will emit flames.
And for $100, I'll tell you where it is. If not, good luck.
I don't need you on my marketing team, Clay.
Oh, you do. You do, my friend.
Yeah,
so good.
Great tagline. It can grill charcoal
All
in
I gotta
60
do is
seconds
have-
and squirrels in 30.
Have landmines in the yard.
Take back control of your yard for $100.
Grill a squirrel or charcoal
Yeah.
in 60 seconds.
Yes, I do think it has legs, and like I said, it's a fun gift because it works. It's clean. It looks good. It's well built. I fired the trigger myself, and I think, like I said before, it kind of gets into that, like those catalogs you flip through on the airplane that has
it
all
does.
these gifts for
Oh, it
dudes.
should
that
be
are
on
like,
that.
yeah,
Finger hook catalog. Get
I mean,
myself a finger hook catalog. Get myself a recliner with a back scratcher.
Oh yeah.
And then get myself a
And
grill
get me a
blazer.
grill gun.
And get myself a whole collection of Chinese finger locks.
And then I'm set.
That's all I need. That's all I need.
For the man,
Just the
for the guy who
essentials.
has everything. Now you have your grill gun.
The grill gun.
Yeah.
You can grill a squirrel or charcoal in under 60 seconds.
Guaranteed.
Endorsed by Batman.
That's right.
Okay, Bob. I
And Chuck
appreciate
Norris.
you.
And Chuck Norris.
Bob, it's grillblazer.com. Our listeners out there, I know they're going to go check it out. Grillblazer.com. Check it out. Z, you could be one of the first 1,400 people in America to buy this beautiful item. You'd
The
be a real
grill
man.
gun endorsed by Chuck Norris. I think that's the tagline.
By the way, if Chuck did endorse this, wouldn't it be over for him? If you got a celebrity endorsement like from Chuck Norris?
That's one of the moves.
That's a move.
That's a move.
That'd be a great move.
Oh, Bob, I appreciate you so much. And Z and I are going to go pontificate about the NFL upcoming draft. We're going to be talking about all things NBA. We got a lot to cover here, Z. So thank you so much, Bob. Have a great day. Jason, have you sincerely ever had an idea to invent something?
Yeah, but they've always been bad. They don't really like service a need.
Okay, so it's just more of something that you've had an idea, thought about it for maybe half a day, and then you move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're out there and you sincerely have an idea or an invention that you want to refine and you want to get launched and turned into something that could make money, that could become a business, I would highly recommend that you start by thinking of problems that real people have and look for a better way to solve that problem or a way to solve the problem that people really have. That's why I think that the grill gun will do well, because men like to grill, and they sincerely want to use charcoal because it typically tastes better.
Right.
But now you can use the grill gun to light your charcoal grill in just 60 seconds.
Oh, and I've used it, and it saved me so much time. I don't have to taste lighter fluid. It's awesome.
And it's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's so much fun.
It's like a gun-shaped torch. It combines grilling. You got the fire, you got the gun, the whole. It's a fantastic gift. I encourage you to check out the website today. Again, in case you missed it earlier, it's called grillblazer.com. Grillblazer.com. And if you're interested in learning how to become the best inventor you can possibly be, I would recommend that everybody goes out and purchases a copy of the book called Secrets from an Inventor's Notebook. Secrets from an Inventor's Notebook by Maurice Kanbar, the creator of Sky Vodka, and a guy that is the holder of an incredible number of patents. The modern needle protector, that's Maurice Kanbar's invention.
Oh, wow.
The Sky Vodka, that's his invention.
It's huge.
You have the modern traffic lights. A lot of people don't realize this, but the modern traffic lights, a lot of them are using Maurice Kanbar's patented invention that makes a strobe light that strobes so fast that the average person doesn't see it strobing, but it dramatically reduces the amount of electricity
being used because it's not on the whole time. It's strobing.
Interesting.
This guy's got a ton of inventions, and he wrote how he did it, how to do it, how to invent things, the process. It's not a random thing he's doing here. It's a proven process he's done time and time again, and you can get that book today. It's called Secrets from an Inventor's Notebook by Maurice Kanbar, the creator of Sky Vodka. It's an incredible book. Everybody out there should own it if you're looking to become an inventor. And we like to end each and every show with a boom. And so now without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Hi, my name is Tim Johnson. I'm the owner of Tuscaloosa Ophthalmology as well as Southern Eye Consultants, two ophthalmology practices in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I'm a client of Clay Clark. He asked me to answer a couple questions. The first question was, how did I hear about Clay Clark? I am a big fan of business podcasts, and his podcast popped up as a recommended listening, so I started listening to the podcast. I was a little suspicious or skeptical because I thought there was going to be like an upcharge or an upsell, but the idea of the month-to-month canceling really appealed to me, and I kept waiting for the shoe to drop and for the upsell or for the scam to come in, but it never did. It's very legitimate. Since working with Clay, I've gotten a much firmer grasp on how business works. Even in medicine, business is business. I've learned a lot about marketing, especially how Google reviews work and how important that is. And that's very important even in medicine. At least once a week, if not every day, I get a new patient because somebody Googled eye doctor in Tuscaloosa or ophthalmologist in Tuscaloosa. And you'd be amazed how many patients just look for an eye doctor that way. And so he's really changed our business. Our business has grown a lot, maybe 15 to 20% this year. And so we're really grateful for the things he's done for our business. And the last question was, when did I perfect the laugh? I would say that you can never perfect the laugh. You just keep working at it, and just keeps getting better and better each day. But you got to keep working at it.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you, so congratulations.
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur I think would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation and making you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. Man, there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been two major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on, expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. That's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us, and it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I've found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town, And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads. Going from 10 a month to 180 a month, that would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it, because we sure haven't.
It's been tremendous. I can't say enough about it. Carter keeps me accountable. He keeps me focused on working on the business and implementing things that we need to work on to keep growing the business. When we first started with you, I had 4 employees, and now I'm up to 10 employees. And it's all because of the work we're getting. We're getting more and more work. Clay, I was suffocating. Like I said, I was doing the business since 2009, and everything was going through me. And at a point, it's a breaking point. And that's where I think businesses just cave in and give up. And I found you on Rumble, and I started listening to you, and I told myself that it's possible. This guy's system is possible, and I can see hope, and I could keep the business going. And I just encourage people, if you're on the fence, get off the fence and try it. What do you have to gain? Everything. There's a proven path. There's a way to get through it, and there's hope, and the vision becomes clear.
Okay, Aaron Antis, guess who's joining us for the December 4th and 5th, 2025 Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop? Whoa. Ooh, Santa Claus? No, we will not be joined by Santa Claus, but we will be joined by Eric Trump, the son of the 45th and now 47th President of these United States. And yes, Amanda Grace will be in the place. And yes, Dr. Stella Manuel will be there, so you know it will go well. Yes, we have Mel K in the house. Pastor Phil and Tammy Hotson-Pillar will be hosting this event at their beautiful church right there in sunny Anaheim, California. Yes, folks, make this a December to remember.
You surprised?
Make this a December to remember and join us at the 2-day interactive business growth workshops. For over 20 years, folks, I've been hosting business growth workshops where we're going to teach you marketing, sales systems, human resources, accounting, social media marketing, branding, sales training, search engine optimization, accounting, workflow development, financial management, all this and more. How do you get tickets? Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, how do you get tickets? Go to thrivetimeshow.com and request tickets today. And now Eric Trump, people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. There's not 50 employees. The Trump organization, again, most people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. And while Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of these United States, and this just in from our home office, President Donald J. Trump is now the 47th president of these United States as well. I'm Ron Burgundy. He needed someone to run the companies for him. And so the man that runs the Trump organization for Donald J. Trump, as he was the 45th president of the United States and now the 47th president of the United States, is Eric Trump. And so Eric Trump is here to talk about time management, promoting from within, marketing, branding, quality control, sales systems, workflow design, workflow mapping, how to build. I mean, everything that you see, the Trump hotels, the Trump golf courses, all their products, the man who manages billions of dollars of real estate and thousands of employees, is here to teach us how to do it.
You are talking about one of the greatest brands on the planet from a business standpoint.
Right.
I mean, who else has been able to create a brand like the Trump brand? I mean, look at it. And this is the man behind the business for the last pretty much since 2015. He's been the man behind it. So you're talking, we're into 9 going into 10 years of him running it, and we get to tap into that knowledge. That's going to be amazing.
Now, think about this for a second.
Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
And it ain't over now.
The lineup continues to grow, and this is how we do our tickets here at the Thrivetime Show. If you want to get a VIP ticket, you can absolutely do it. It's $500 for a VIP ticket. We've always done it that way. Now, if you want to take a general admission ticket, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And the reason why I do that, and the reason why we do that, is because we want to make our events affordable for everybody. I grew up without money. I totally understand what it's like to be in a tight spot. So if you want to attend, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. That's how I do it. And it's $500 for a VIP ticket. Now, we only have limited seating here.
There's a lot of togetherness and closeness, camaraderie.
So again, if you want to get tickets for this event, all you have to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. When you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you'll go there, you'll request a ticket, boom. Or if you want to text me, if you want a little bit faster service, you say, I want you to call me right now. Just text my number. It's my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number. We'll keep that private between you, me, everybody. We'll keep that private. And anybody, don't share that with anybody except for everybody. That's my private cell phone number. It's 918-851-0102. 918-851-0102. I know we have a lot of Spanish speaking people that attend these conferences, and to be bilingually sensitive, my cell phone number is 918-851-0102.
That is not actually bilingual. That's just saying Juan for a one. It's not the same thing.
I think you're attacking me. Now, let's talk about this. Now, what kind of stuff will you learn at the Thrivetime Show workshop? So, Aaron, you've been to many of these over the past 7-8 years. So let's talk about it. I'll tee up the thing, and then you tell me what you're going to learn here, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
You're going to learn marketing and branding. What are we going to learn about marketing and branding?
Oh, yeah. We're going to dive into, so many people say, I got to get my brand known out there, like the Trump brand, right? You want to get that brand out there. It's like, how do I actually make people know what my business is and make it a household name? You're going to learn some intricacies of how you can do that.
You're going to learn sales. So many people struggle to sell something. This just in, your business will go to hell if you can't sell. So we're going to teach you sales. We're going to teach you search engine optimization, how to come up top in the search engine results. We're going to teach you how to manage people. Aaron, you have managed, no exaggeration, hundreds of people throughout your career and thousands of contractors. And most people struggle with managing people. Why does everybody have to learn how to manage people?
Well, because first of all, you either have great people or you have people who suck. And so it can be a challenge. Learning how to work with a large group of people and get everybody pulling in the same direction can be a challenge. But if you have the right systems, you have the right processes, and you're really good at selecting great ones, and we have a process we teach about how to find great people. When you start with the people who have a great attitude, they're teachable, they're driven, all of those things, then you can get those people all pulling in the same direction.
So we're going to teach you branding, marketing, sales, search engine optimization. We're going to teach you accounting. We're going to teach you personal finance, how to manage your finance. We're going to teach you time management. How do you manage your time? How do you get more done during a typical day? How do you build an organization if you're not organized? How do you do organization? How do you build an org chart? Everything that you need to know to start and grow a business will be taught during this 2-day interactive business workshop. Now, let me tell you how the format is set up here. And again, folks, this is a 2-day interactive 15. Think about this, folks. It's 2 days. Each day it starts at 7 a.m. and it goes until 5 p.m. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. The way we do it is we do a 30-minute teaching session, and then we break for 15 minutes for a question and answer session. So, Aaron, what kind of great stuff happens during that 15-minute question and answer session after every teaching session?
I actually think it's the best part about the workshops, because here's what happens. I've been to lots of these things over the years. I've paid many thousands of dollars to go to them. And you go in there and they talk in vague generalities, and they're constantly upselling you for something, trying to get you to buy this thing or that thing or this program or this membership. and you leave not getting your very specific questions answered about your business or your employees or what you're doing on your marketing. And what's awesome about this is we literally answer every single question that any person asks, and it's very specific to what your business is.
And what we do is we allow you as the attendee to write your questions on the whiteboard.
Yep.
And then we literally, as you mentioned, we answer every single question on the whiteboard. And then we take a 15-minute break to stretch. And this is also your opportunity to meet some of the great speakers like Pastor Dave Scarlett. You can meet Mel Kay. You could meet Amanda Grace. You could meet Dr. Stella Emmanuel. You could just grab a coffee. You could find some alone time. You could get lost in the bathroom. You could try to go and get a photo with one of the speakers. You could try to photobomb a photo where someone else is getting a photo with the speakers. You could go attempt to find your phone, wallet, and your keys.
My phone, wallet, keys, yeah, phone, wallet, keys. Whoa.
Now that's a good idea. Well, it's going to be great. And then you're in the company of hundreds of entrepreneurs. So there's not a lot of people in America today. In fact, there's less than 10 million people today, according to U.S. Debt Clock, that identify as being self-employed. So if you have a country with 350 million people, that means you have less than 3% of our population that's even self-employed. Yeah. So you only have 3 out of every 100 people in America that are self-employed to begin with. And when Inc. magazine reports that 96% of businesses fail by default, you have a 1 out of 1,000 chance of succeeding in the game of business.
It's tough.
But yet the average client that you and I work with, we can typically double this. And this is no hyperbole, no exaggeration. And I have thousands of testimonials to back this up. We have thousands of testimonials to back it up. But when you work with a home builder, when I work with a business owner, we can typically double the size of the company within 24 months.
Yeah.
Double. And you say double? Yeah, there's businesses that we have tripled. There's businesses we've grown 8x. There's so many examples you can see at thrivetimeshow.com. But again, this is the most interactive, best business workshop on the planet. This is objectively the highest rated and most reviewed business workshop on the planet. Whoa. Add to that, Eric Trump, the man that runs the Trump organization. You say, Clay, I'm not going to get a ticket unless you give me more. Okay, fine. We're going to serve you the same meal both days. True story. We cater in the food, and because I keep it simple, I literally bring in the same food both days for lunch.
Who's with me? Let's go! Come on!
It's an incredible Mexican restaurant. That's going to happen. Someone says, I want more. This is not enough.
Give me more.
Okay, I'm not going to mention their names right now because I'm working on it behind the scenes here. But we just continue to add more and more success stories. So if you're out there today and you want to change your life, you want to give yourself an incredible gift, you want a life-changing experience, you want to learn how to start and grow a company, go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go there right now, thrivetimeshow.com. Request a ticket for the 2-day interactive event. Again, the event's going to be on December 4th and 5th in sunny Anaheim, California. Great weather. Make this a December to remember. Eric Trump, the man who leads the Trump organization. It's going to be a blasty blast. There's no upsells. Aaron, I could not be more excited about this event.
I think it is incredible. And there's somebody out there right now, you're watching and you're like, but I already signed up for this incredible other program called Smoke Your Way to Thin. I think that's going to change your life. I promise you this will be 10 times better than that.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Don't do the Smoke Your Way to Thin conference. That is, I've tried it. Don't do it.
Yeah, chain smoking is not a viable. I mean, it is life changing. It is life changing. If you become a chain smoker, it is life changing.
Not the best weight loss program, though.
Right. Really. So if you're looking to have life changing results in a way that won't cause you to have a stoma, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's Aaron Antis. I'm Clay Clark, and reminding you and inviting you to come out to the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show workshop in beautiful Anaheim, California.
I'm Kay Dixon. I'm from Sarasota, Florida.
I'm Vince Suzuki, also from Sarasota, Florida.
He dragged me here.
Yep, was here in 2018, and it changed my business, and I built another business, and now I'm here to do it again with this business. So.
Yeah, I'm a brand strategist, and it's been really easy to go to a lot of events like this and just leave really in your head like what to do next. And already there's the strategic, step-by-step, real-life implementation that we can do to our business. And I'm so grateful to be here and very excited that Eric Trump is here, and that is going to be epic.
my name is Erica, and it has been amazing being here. The conference, I'm learning so much. Everything is perfect for me.
But that Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him. Character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart. And I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good. And then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. But I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
No, he is.
And the greatest thing that'll come out of all of it, aside from winning the presidency of the United States, we'll get to that in a second, was an everlasting friendship between Clay and I, because I'm telling you, there's not too many people in the world that have this man's backbone and his tenaciousness and his perseverance. And so, buddy, I love you. And to General Flynn, thank you. You guys are incredible. You guys are incredible warriors. You guys are incredible, incredible warriors. So thank you, my friend.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the Academy in Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
We're going to move into action mode here. So for anybody out there, if you say, I would like to go to Mar-a-Lago. Now, Jackson, you know that this just in, they raided Mar-a-Lago. You know about this? This just in. And so some people say, that wasn't cool. I didn't like that. But, so a lot of people out there, we want to kind of stick it to the New York Times. We want Eric to become the #1 best-selling author in America. And we kind of also want to go to Mar-a-Lago and check it out. We've never been there before. So what we're going to do is for anybody right now, if you go to Amazon right now and you buy a copy of Eric Trump's book, Under Siege, My Family's Fight to Save Our Nation. So you go to Amazon right now, you buy a copy of the book, and you just text a screenshot of your proof of purchase to my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. So text my number, 918-851-0102. So again, step one, you go here to Amazon.com, you buy a copy of the book, Under Siege, then you just text a screenshot of your purchase, your proof of purchase. You text my number, 918-851-0102. You have a chance to win a dinner at Mar-a-Lago with Eric Trump and myself, and there's more.
Yeah, by the way, Mar-a-Lago right there, just for your viewers, it's a most exclusive private club in the world. $2 million to get into, just base membership fee. And I promise we're going to make your night absolutely incredible. Clay goes, listen, why don't we do this? Why don't we put it out to all the amazing Reawaken people, all the people who supported us all around the country, all around, at every one of these conferences, who adore your family. We've got to beat the New York Times. The New York Times is going to do everything they can. Even though we're #1 on Amazon right now, we just hit #1 this morning. New York Times is going to do everything they can to keep you from being #1 bestseller. You know that, I know that, you know the games that they're willing to play. But Clay goes, why don't we do a couple of things? First of all, love having dinner with Clay. He's the greatest. Second of all, why don't we bring one of the amazing people that I guarantee you I've been in front of at all these events. Why don't we bring a couple to dinner at Mar-a-Lago? And I said, absolutely, consider it done. So I said, they have to text you, Clay. They can't text me because we'll be getting 1,000 of these. But yeah, go buy a book, text Clay, and we'll set up a dinner. I'll make sure you guys have the absolute time of your life.
Now, I'm going to pull this up again one more time here, Jackson, because I think sometimes I'm a poor communicator, and I need to work on communicating more effectively. So you go to Amazon. That's step one, okay?
Yes.
You buy a copy of the book, Pop Quiz. What book?
Under Siege.
You buy a copy of Under Siege, and then you screenshot a picture of that, and you text my phone number. It's 918-851-0102. And folks, that is my cell phone number. So we'll keep that private between you and me and everybody. And then when you text that to me, you have a chance to win a backstage pass to the actual in-person business workshop. That's a business growth workshop, December 4th and 5th, featuring Eric Trump in Anaheim, California. And you have a chance to win dinner with Eric Trump and myself at Mar-a-Lago. Now, someone says, when does this contest end? Now, Eric, your birthday was hijacked. Okay, so your birthday was hijacked. January 6th is this man's birthday. He now has to switch his birthday because no one wants to talk about his birthday on January 6th anymore. So we're going to run this promotion until November 5th. That's my birthday. So we're gonna,
no. So we're going to run it till October 14th.
October
has to
14th.
be pre-sale.
This just in. It has to be between October 14th. That's why we're clarifying. So between now and October 14th. Now, folks, let me just clarify this real quick here. So make sure I'm leaving you with some good clarity here. One, you buy a copy of Under Siege on Amazon. That's the step one.
Yep.
Step two, you text a screenshot of that purchase to my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. Three, you have to do that before October 14th. Before October 14th, this just in. It has to be before October 14th. And you have a chance to win a backstage pass to the upcoming business workshop. You have a chance to have dinner with Eric Trump at Mar-a-Lago. And I want to tell you some benefits of buying the book. One, I've read the book. It's incredible. If you're a father out there and you want to learn about mentoring your kids, it's a great book. If you want to learn about American history, it's a great book. If you want to make America great again, it is a great book. It's a book you got to have.
Now here is just a quick editor's note. You do not have to buy a copy of Eric Trump's book Under Siege to be entered into the drawing. Whoa. Just text the number. All you have to do is just text the number 918-851-0102 and you will be entered into the drawing for a chance to win a copy of Eric Trump's book Under Siege and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to hang out with Eric Trump and Clay Clark at Mar-a-Lago and to win a backstage pass at the upcoming ThriveTimeShow.com 2-day interactive business workshop. Again, you do not have to buy a copy of the book to be entered into the drawing, but it would be great if you'd buy a copy of the book because that would make sense. However, that is all, and now back to the interview.
Also, Eric, a final question here for you. You are donating a portion of the proceeds to support Charlie Kirk in his continued mission there. Could you tell us about that briefly there, and then we'll let you get back to what you're doing today, sir?
Yeah, well, I was on with Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson was a great friend of Charlie Kirk's, as you know, and you know Benny, and Benny's a very good friend of mine, and, you know, Kash Patel is a very good friend of mine and was a very good friend of Charlie's. I mean, you watch everybody that's up on that stage every single day as they got to the bottom of exactly what happened, and they brought justice to what happened, or are trying to bring justice to what happened, and it's kind of unthinkable, but you know St. Jude, and I talk a lot about St. Jude in this book because that's been, you know, fighting pediatric cancer has always been a cornerstone of my life. But Charlie truly was the epitome of being under siege, not only in the movement that he helped create, but obviously in how his life was savagely taken. My book came out 2.5 days before Charlie's assassination. You better believe he would have been the final chapter of this book as just another illustration of what these people will do at any cost to try and win, because it's who they are. It's the not so tolerant left, and we can never let our voices be extinguished. Clay, you stood on that stage as well as anybody I've ever seen stand on a stage. You did our Reawaken events all across the country, which you funded out of your back pocket because you believed in America, you believed in a greater country, and you were on that stage every single day. You know, I was on that stage with you every single day, and I was on the Turning Point stage with Charlie all the time, and I was on stages across the country and 3 campaigns. I've stood on thousands of them, and honestly, they don't want us to stand on that stage. That's why they're sending bullets from rooftops. They don't want us to go out there with a bullhorn and have loud, independent thought. When they see these beautiful arenas full of kids and they're cheering, they're celebrating, they're holding American flags, they don't want that. And so they want to silence us. They want to silence our voice. That's why they killed Charlie. That's why they tried to kill my father. That's why they sent 112 subpoenas to me. That's why they wanted me in jail and my father in jail and Don in jail. That's why they made up the hoaxes. They wanted to see us destroyed and gone with no voice, with no money, with no company, with no political aspirations, gone. And we can't allow that to happen. And so we need to make sure that Turning Point continues. We need to make sure incredible patriots like you continue to spread, sensible speech, pro-American values, pro-religious, pro-constitutional values. And that's why I want to donate the funds to Turning Point. I want to donate, a portion of the funds to Turning Point, because we can't allow anarchy to win, and we can't allow voices to be deleted, and we need to keep Charlie's legacy going.
Eric Trump, thank you so much for joining us. Pastor Jackson, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Eric, have a great day. We really do appreciate you. Everybody go out there and buy that book, Under Siege. It's not too early to buy your Christmas gifts. And if you have a Democrat in your family, buy them a copy as well. Eric Trump, take care.
Thanks, guys. See you later.